Control Tower, this is Flying Blind Podcast requesting permission for takeoff.
Copy. Can you confirm your flight path and destination?
Negative. I can't see shit, but we'll be right. We're just gonna wing it.
Righto, welcome back to the Flying Blind Podcast, a podcast out there for all of us just winging it. However, we're big believers that no one in life should be winging it alone. As always, proudly brought to you by On Track Meals. Amazing Australian meals that you can keep in your cupboard, that you can heat up absolutely anywhere and you can take anywhere. Shelf life of 3 years, so make sure you use the code FlyingBlind for 10% off at checkout. Sitting here today with a bloke I've just met. Definitely wasn't love at first sight for the two of us because we've got our first fellow blind guest on Flying Blind today, Matt Formston. How are you, mate?
Benny, I'm good, mate. Yeah, very good.
Mate, thank you so much for coming down, for being here, flown down from Sydney for a couple of podcasts while you're down here in Melbourne, mate. How was the trip down?
It was good, mate. It's always good to get down to the airport early, and I'm a bit north of Sydney, so it's a bit of a commute before I even get there. Got on the flight. I don't love people either. Like the people thing, there's just airports and walking along with my cane. I think people have this assumption that the cane just parts the seas, and that all of a sudden it just makes things easier. It actually makes things harder for me. Like without my cane, people, and you're a big bloke too, right? People sort of move out of your way. I think you're a bigger bloke than me, but I'm not a small bloke. So most of the time if I'm walking along with my wife, people just move. As soon as I have my cane, they ought to think that's free space, and they just, I have my cane broken. Anyway, so I've gone through the airport, did all that. I don't ask for, I'm too independent as well, fiercely independent, so I don't do the assistance thing. I just walk my way to the gate.
Yeah, you and I both, probably sometimes to our detriment.
Most of the time.
But just too stubborn for our own good.
100%, but you accept help all the time, then you lose the capability as well. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, that one.
Yeah, you become nearly dependent on it because you lose the ability to problem solve yourself.
100%, yeah. It's funny. So you cane all the time or cane sometimes a little bit of no cane?
When we're talking out and about, I'm cane most of the time.
Yep.
I should say all the time.
Yeah.
Unless I'm with my wife, unless I'm at a concert or something where there's just going to be a huge crowd of people, then we don't. I don't use it because it becomes more of a hindrance than a help.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. And whereas I think people have this this belief that it just parts the seas and everyone's respectful and anyway. So I get on the plane, board early, do the pre-board thing because I'm normally seated up the front of the plane so I can sort of count to 3 or 5 or whatever.
Yep.
And I know it can use my pattern, so I think I was in 5C, so I just count with my hand 5C, sit down. First bloke gets on the plane, sits right in front of me, puts his bag up in the overhead, and his bottle. I heard this chink, and it's like nothing to do with vision. It's just going to happen to anyone. 1.5 kilos of stainless steel bottle with full of water lands on my head out of the overhead carriage.
Ah!
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry." I was like, oh, fuck it, like it hurt. Like I've got a lump on my head. And I was like, fuck, okay, mate, yeah, it's all good thing. And, and then I was like, actually, mate, that wasn't okay. Like, that's fucking just reckless. Like, why would you be putting that up in the overhead and then trying to balance? Like, you realise it's a weapon. Just take it out before you stick it up there.
So was he trying to stow the bottle in the overhead?
I'm assuming it was probably in a backpack in one of those side pockets. And none of those pockets are sort of big enough to take those bottles.
Yeah.
So as soon as it's not horizontal, it's not vertical anymore, it's just popped out and slid out and landed on my head.
And like you say, they are like a grenade. I mean, I can't talk. Listeners of the pod know that about, a month ago now, when I was over doing a gig in Port Augusta for BHP, I ended up with a 3.7 litre Yeti.
Yep.
And it's just a absolute monstrosity of a water bottle that is so impractical to walk around with. But I don't think I'd ever take it on a plane with me.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's helpful and handy when we're sitting here in the office and I don't have to go backwards and forwards and fill it up and do that in terms of getting your water intake in. But
I reckon that just would have knocked me out cold, mate. I don't think that one's a little dint on the head. I reckon that one's just
that's a proper weapon. That is, but
that's neck problems out cold. That's what that one is.
So if you pass out halfway through today, it could be just late onset concussion.
Combined with beers, potentially.
Yeah, perfect. All right, good. And speaking of beers, we start most of our guest episodes whenever we can on Flying Blind with our Pick the Can.
Okay.
So
I did hear this, and I'm very, very nervous.
Well, you should be nervous because being a fellow blind bloke yourself, I think the listeners out there will be expecting big things from you.
Okay. So I'm just going to challenge you on this. So are you saying that you can do this skill?
Look, I'm not saying I'm the best at it. I'm just saying we came up with an idea, and fucking if you're sitting in the guest spot, you're going to have to pick the can.
Let's go.
I did
Let's
have
go.
one.
I'm just going to say to listeners, I've heard this, and I couldn't work it out. For the episodes I listened to, I was like, I got no idea. So this is going to be I think I'm going to be rolling the dice on this, but let's see.
No, you'll be right.
I'm going to take the headphones off though, so I can actually hear it clean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you're not going through the headphones, you're going out and about
100%.
in the raw.
Because I think sometimes the refraction of the noise can give you as much information as the actual noise.
Oh, he's coming with strategy. And we'll get to the fact that he's a strategic kind of guy as we go through today. So we've got 2 cans of Born Dry Still Water.
We going now? Or?
Yeah, we're going 2 cans of Betty Beer.
Off.
All right, and you definitely can't see these cans over here. You better not be able to. I'm going to shake them up like always. Not shake them. Switch them up like I always do. All right. First one's first. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, and I'm going to give you the answers at the end as well.
Oh, all right.
I know other guests have told you as you go, but I'm working.
Good call. Because then what happens is those guests have then changed as they've gone through.
Yeah, I'm going to lock it in at the end.
Number 1, number 2.
Okay, yep.
And then we'll go number 3. Coming right up. And lucky last, can number 4.
Oh, that's put a bit of a spanner in the works.
All right, talk to me.
1 and 4 sounded a bit less like they had a less gas released.
A little bit less oomph.
Yeah, a little less oomph. So I'm going to go with those 2 as the water, and 2 and 3 as the beer, but 4 did sound like it had more oomph than number 1. So I'm questioning number 4, but I know that now I've said those. I'm going to lock it in, Eddie, at 1 and 4 as water, and 3 and I'll put my headphones back on. 2 and 3 as beer, and now you're going to tell me that number 1 was the beer.
No, I'm not. I'm going to tell you that number 1 and number 2 were both water.
Okay.
And number 3 and number 4 were both beer.
Okay.
So you did, what'd you get, 2 out of 4? Is that right?
I got 1 out of 4.
Yeah. That's,
and 3. No, 2. Sorry, math.
Yeah. You got 2 and 3 right.
Yeah.
You got 1 and 4 mixed up.
Yeah.
So you did well, but I can pass you one of these waters, so you got one as well. Where are you? Where is your hand? This is awkward.
I was going to say that's normally the sighted person's job.
Yeah, exactly right. We need to phone a friend here if we're talking about Eddie, but you got a beer there, mate. You got water there.
Good.
And we've got plenty, so we should be right in terms of our thirst today. But
excellent,
mate. I don't even know where to start with this, and that's why I'm so looking forward to it. We haven't met before today until we picked you up from the airport, half concussed. When you look you up online, or when I listen to Siri read out your bio online, it's a mile long. It's got gold medals. It's got Paralympian. It's got big wave surfer. It's got cycling. It's got senior executive at Optus. We're going to not throw all that out. We're going to put that to the side and want to go back to growing up. Where'd you grow up? What was growing up like? What were you into? Tell us about that.
So, mate, I grew up in Narrabeen.
Northern Beaches, yeah, right.
Northern Beaches to Sydney.
Yep.
Had full vision. And I grew up on the lake. This is Narrabeen Lake's a big waterway. I grew up on the waterfront. So,
beautiful.
mate, it was literally, you couldn't imagine a better place to grow up. So you look across our back, you sat in our dining room. We're talking, I was born in late 70s, so I grew up in the 80s. You could look from our dining room across the lake to an island. So once I was old enough, we'd go and play on the island. So that was our playground, was this lake and this island. And then we were like a 7-minute walk from Narrabeen Beach. It's one of the best surfing beaches, in that whole region. So it was...
Sounds like paradise.
And then on top of all that, we had an ice rink. I think the only place in the world that had an ice rink that was under a kilometre to a beach.
An ice rink?
Had an ice rink.
On the northern beaches of Sydney?
100%.
Whose idea was that?
It was the best idea ever. Do you know what the worst idea ever was? When the council approved for it to be pulled down and they put a Woolies up.
Yeah, well, that is a bad idea.
Because it was. But anyway, I'll go backwards. But I was fully sighted, so I wasn't blind. And so I grew up in this. My parents would go swimming. Like some people go bushwalking. My parents would go swimming, and I'd just be on my dad's shoulders. And they said that they were like I was about 2, and they used to swim all the way around the island and come back. It was like a kilometre around the island. And then they basically, there was one day that they were swimming. They were doing their swim on like a Sunday. And I just let go and just started swimming. And they both freaked out, Mum and Dad, because I'm the oldest of my siblings.
Yeah.
And I just swam all the way to the island and just ran along the sand. And then they'd swim along a bit further and I'd swim out to them and swim. That was it. From 2 onwards, I was
going to say, so this is while you can see.
While I can see.
Young little tacker running around.
Yep.
Swimming.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Cool.
Yep. And then age 5, start these moving. They don't realise because all the pictures of me up until I'm about 5, I'm looking straight at the camera. So I learned how to catch a ball. I did have an older brother. I got a stepbrother who's 13 years older than me, who lived with me. So he'd pass the ball. I'd learn how to catch a ball and play sport and footy. And we're a rugby union family. Played rugby league as well. So we play, full contact. My brother played ice hockey as well. So he was playing first grade for the Narrabeen Bombers at the time, the ice skating rink, and he was also playing for the Ringa Rats, so rugby team. So I grew up in that environment and, lost my vision. So they basically got picked up at school. There was an eye nurse came out that did like a random, like just did a standard eye test that they do when you start school. And she took us like groups of 3 or 4 kids at a time. And I was born competitive. Like I love competing. That's just who I am. And so I remember sitting in the room and there was groups of 3 or 4 students going out at a time. And I'm like, I'm going to win this competition. Don't know what the competition is, but I'm going to win it.
You just wanted to win at all costs.
Everything, just win. Not at all costs, but I just knew that there was a value in winning.
Where do you reckon that was that from your old man? Was that?
Yeah, I reckon it's from the old man.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I think it's just the environment too. Like it was, like we had, like in my street growing up, I remember I had like Damien Hardman was a world champion surfer. We had Jeff Tuvey, like we had guys, there was NRL players, there was famous musicians, there was just world beaters everywhere.
Yeah, so it was a known thing from a local point of view.
Yeah. That
you get celebrated, you get well known if you do well.
Yeah, if you dominate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, anyway, I get picked. I go into this competition. So my name finally gets called with 3 other students. Go into this little room, and there's like a thing on the back of a door. We all get told to sit down, and this lady's, and she picks the students, and when they've got to tell her what these things are on the back of the door. She's got this chart, and it's a standard eye chart, right? So it's got, but for young kids that can't read yet, so it's got a house on the top like a big house, and it goes, the next line's a bit smaller, but so it's like house, and then the next line's tree, monkey, elephant, the next line down's like a tree, something else. So there's just smaller and smaller, more things on each line, just like a standard eye chart.
Yeah, so you weren't getting selected to do this eye test because they thought you couldn't see.
No.
This was just every kid was going through it.
100%.
3 at a time, into the room,
100%.
away you go.
Yep, 3 or 4 at a time. So I think there was 4 in my group. And then I was the last kid in my group. So I just sat there, and because I already started adapting, because you adapt, right? We can go into that, but the memory was one of the things that I was starting to adapt. So I basically sat there and went, yep, house, tree, monkey, elephant, burrow, and just reeled off all the things that they'd all said. And luckily enough, this nurse just went, oh, okay. I don't think, she basically said I wasn't looking at the chart, so she sort of, a few clues dropped for her. And she got up and just pointed to a few of the different things in a different order, rather than me just going through the house, tree, monkey, elephant order, which stitched me up.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell you, but I didn't win that competition.
No. I can gather that you may not have been too good at that when you can't see the chart in the first place. So at that point, could you see anything on that chart? I mean,
No.
5 years old, you probably can't remember.
No, I couldn't. No, she couldn't. I think I could almost see the house at the top.
Yep.
But the rest of it, no, couldn't see any of it. It was just all like I could sort of see the separation for the top 2 or 3 lines in like the blobs.
Yep.
And then there was like white separation in between them, but they were just blobs.
Yeah, okay.
And then it got, so that was when I was like 5, and then it just progressively got worse. So, and then, over a period of sort of 12 to 18 months, I went from being fully sighted to having no central vision. So I got macular dystrophy, and I had about 5% of peripheral vision left in my right eye. So if you're imagining 5% being like just a small little segment, it's not that, it's 5% of the clarity. And so as I say, it's like if you imagine your windscreen, if you're driving in your car and you get sandpaper and rub it, you just spray paint with like white spray paint all the middle so you can't see anything. And just on the edges, you scratch it with sandpaper until you basically blur out 95% of the clarity. That's what I could see at that age.
And I think when we had a feed at the pub before, we were comparing the pair, same age, same income, same super contribution, as they say, and working out that we probably have somewhat very similar levels of eyesight, like
right now.
I think right now.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, I think I've got what they deem as 2%. But who really knows? But it is very, very similar in the sense that I've got no central vision.
Yeah.
And then very, 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 very blurry peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Better the contrast, the better you might make out a shape or a shadow.
Yes.
And you've got some light perception as well.
Yeah.
But then my central vision is all flicking and flashing colourful lights.
Yes, I don't have any central vision. It's just nothing there.
Yeah.
It's just invisible.
It's
Because people imagine it being black or white. It's not any of those things. It's just so I've worked because I've been a public figure, whatever, because I've done photo shoots. It sounds awful to say as a bloke. It sounds a bit wanky, but I've done photo shoots for different sponsors I've been with. I've had photographers that have said, "No, I'm going to work out how for you to look at the camera." So this is how I've worked it out. So a camera, he's like, "Okay, move your eyes up." So he'd get my eye line and say, "No, up further." So even though I can't see him, he's moving my eyes so I look like I'm looking at the camera. And so I know where the person's voice is. If I look up to the top one, you can't even test this. So I could be just absolutely bullshitting at myself. But if you could see right now, my eyes. If I'm looking at you normally, my eyes are sort of down to your what would be your right elbow sort of thing.
Yep.
So if I look up to the right hand side, it moves my blind spot basically into. So if I could see your head, I can't see it at the moment. But if we were sitting somewhere that was like really bright, good contrast, and there was like white behind you, I could maybe see the shape of your head. If I move my head, my eyes up to like 2 o'clock above your head, my 2 o'clock, if your head's 2 o'clock, if I move it up there and about 20 or 30 centimeters away from your head, I will look straight in your eyes. But when I do that, you disappear. So it's just nothing there. So before, where I would have seen like a blob, all of a sudden it's just invisible. There's just nothing there anymore.
And that's why it's so hard from a looking at the camera point of view. When your blind spot's in the middle, that's not where your focus point is.
No.
And that's why I think so many people with peripheral vision, whether it be blurry or whatnot, no central vision, you hear people say, but they don't look like they're looking at me.
Yeah.
But it's because they're trying to get some of that little bit of peripheral vision to be the focus point, but you end up not looking straight ahead when you're doing that.
You're going for your best vision, which might be the bottom left or the bottom right, which is where your best vision is. Yeah.
No, it's very interesting. Sorry, we
digress.
We digress. Getting back to, you had that 18 month period of slow degeneration.
Yep.
Did the school then tell your parents that that's what they'd found out in that testing period?
So this is probably pivotal to my story. So as it happens, I go to the school tells the nurse and the school both tell my parents. I get referred to Sydney Eye Hospital. I go to Sydney Eye Hospital. They do all the diagnosis. They put electrodes up under my eyes and fire them. I'm a 5-year-old boy. They stick a helmet on my head like if you imagine like a old school scuba diving helmet, like a big steel helmet. Put that over my head, then they put these electrodes and they fire these electrodes. They inject me with like radioactive stuff. So My urine's bright orange for weeks after it.
Fair dinkum.
Mate, it was heavy. I was like a crash test tummy. So it went all through all that. Anyway,
What are they looking for when they're doing that?
don't know, mate. But it was, not many kids had lost that much vision through macular dystrophy at that young age. So I was like this thing that they wanted to test to find out what it was. You know what I mean? Anyway.
So did they know that it was macular dystrophy
Well, they
at this
diagnosed
point?
it. No, I think around that time, yeah, they'd done the scans and seen the so my macula, and yours might be similar, but if you take an image at the back of my eye, and I can send you these shots so you can put up for the audience, but if there's a normal macula looks like beautiful pink tissue, like mine's black, it's just dead. So most of mine's got scarring through it. So they could see through that, whatever tools. I think that at the time it wasn't obviously imaging and digital imaging. It would have just been a doctor looking through a microscope through the middle of my eye. But anyway, they diagnosed me. But the doctor sits down, and the professor at Sydney Eye Hospital, so he's like one of the leading guys in the field of this of eye vision, of eye conditions. He sits down with my parents and says, "Look, Matt's going blind. So your son that you had all these aspirations for, you've got this obviously beautiful house in Narrabeen on the waterfront. Your dad's working his butt off. He's a sales exec. Like he's running. He's selling grog. He was a alcohol salesperson.
Now we're really talking the dream.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll go to that, but yeah. Anyway, so he's doing well for himself, but his little boy that he thought was going to do all these things, all of a sudden the doctor says, "Well, all those things you were dreaming for him, they're not going to happen anymore. He's not going to be able to get an education. He won't have many friends in life. He'll never play sport. He'll never get a good job. Basically, his life's over."
Which is just, I mean, you are a parent now yourself, so am I. You imagine being your mum and dad in that moment, hearing that news. Like it, at that point in time too, like we're talking a number of years ago when we both got the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't just the, oh no, there's still heaps of blind people out there doing really cool things.
Yeah.
It was the perception is the doctor's probably right.
Well, that's what they knew, right?
That's all they knew.
Yeah, and I'm talking. My diagnosis was the early '80s, right? It's a long time ago, but the way my parents reacted to that was very different to the way most people reacted to that in those days. So they were given the diagnosis, so you can't fight with that, right? Your son's going blind. It is what it is. But they didn't accept the prognosis of how my life was going to turn out. So they went back to the school. The school said he's got to leave. He's got to go to a school for kids with disabilities. He can't stay in this school. We don't have capacity for him. And they had the argument like, no, he can stay. He's already here. He's doing well here. Why would we take him out of here? And they went and checked out the school for kids with disabilities. The kids were walking down with their heads down, dejected. They tried to have conversations with the kids. They didn't have very good social skills. And I mean no disrespect to anyone that went to one of those schools or anyone that has anything to do with those schools, but that was their experience. And so they basically said, well, and they asked the principal of that school, what's the leaving level of this school? Like if you can compare it to like another able-bodied school, what school would it be compared to? Like what schools are they getting into? Private schools at the high school level? And eventually, have you tracked it anyway? What happens with the kids when they go through high school? What sort of job do they end up with? And the teacher was like, well, we don't do any of that. Like we look after them.
Yeah, this is a caring facility. This isn't about pathways and futures and careers and aspirations. No. This is just a survival care facility.
You stick them in here and then you pick them up in the arvo. And anyway, so that happened. But I stayed at the mainstream school, became an argument with the school. But the whole time all these arguments happening with my parents and the community, they're not filling me in on it. So they're not saying, Matt, today the school wants you to not be there anymore. And then my dad ended up having a beer with a few mates. They said, does Matt have any mates that want to play in the footy team, the local Narrabeen Sharks? And Dad said, well, Matt will play. And they're like, oh, Don was my dad's name. Matt can't play because he's going blind. He'll get hurt. And Dad was like, well, no, Matty will play. Like he passes the ball with his brother in the front yard. He'll be like, give him a go. So he put me in the football team. But the whole time, so he's basically been made out to be a bad dad because he's putting his kid with a disability in harm's way. That I found out later on, much later on, only recently, that my mum was having to hear other mothers, and I ended up playing reps. I played when I was 11. I was playing reps for rugby league, right, for Manly Seagulls. So I played okay. There's mothers standing in the background going, "Oh, she's a bad mother because she's letting her, how could she let her blind child play? She's an irresponsible mother." All these sorts of comments that they're saying just far enough away that they're pretending that she's out of our ears reach, but not far enough away for her not to hear it. So they're protecting me from all this, but they're going through all this themselves as
That's
parents.
just bullshit, isn't it?
Oh,
Like
it's
that
ridiculous.
that portraying your own thoughts, misconceptions, your own beliefs about what is a good and bad decision, what is the right way to parent, the wrong way to parent on other people. It's like, hey, respect what we choose to do. Like, we're not forcing our kid into this.
Yeah.
Matt's not getting dragged out there against his will,
Yeah.
hating it, crying, wanting to come off, going, Mum, Dad, I can't see too well and you're forcing me to play footy.
Yeah.
Like, it's the complete opposite to that. If anything, it's empowering and enabling.
100%. I mean, I believe it's giving you give someone an opportunity to fail. That is a gift.
Yeah.
And if they fail and they can't deal with it, then you pivot and you do something else. But until they fail to a point where they're not able to evolve, then you keep going. And that's what builds resilience. That's what this thing that everyone talks about, this resilience thing, it's a muscle that you build.
100% it is. It's not something that you're born with. It's not something it's not something that all of a sudden you
It doesn't
have
magically
something-
turn up.
Yeah, have something tough happen in life and all of a sudden, well, now that you've had this accident, diagnosis, adversity come your way,
Yeah.
now you've got a whole lot more resilience because that's part of your story.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's like a muscle.
Yeah.
The more you work it, the better it gets, the stronger it becomes.
And if you stop using it, if you stop flexing it, it goes away.
That's an interesting concept in itself.
Well, 100%. If you grow up in a really bad environment, right? Let's use Mike Tyson. It's probably a really bad example, but didn't grow up in the best of environments. Does really well for himself. Builds a lot of resilience. Becomes world class in his chosen field. Gets a whole bunch of money, capacity, all these things behind him. He doesn't need to build resilience from that point on. He loses it because he's not having to build until he then ends up in jail and makes stupid decisions, right? So then he has to but if you go to that point where you become a millionaire and you then have to do anything more, then you lose resilience. You're not flexing that muscle.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a really good point because I think so often probably you cop it. I definitely have you're just so resilient. But there's definitely days where you don't feel it either because you probably haven't been using it for a while. You've gotten through that tough period. I used it when I went and did Kokoda or ski raced or this, that or the other.
Yeah.
But then you come back and you rest on your laurels for a little while.
Yeah.
And you're not exercising it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So it's like anything. You probably become unfit when it comes to being resilient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and there's resilience is it mental resilience, emotional resilience, physical resilience? There's lots of different avenues that you can take resilience on it as well.
Yeah, and it's probably a holistic approach of a combination of all of them.
Yeah.
Which is true resilience in the sense of the word.
Yeah.
Righto, so footy.
Yeah.
Playing footy,
Rep.
under 11s, Manly Sea Eagles.
Yep.
Uh,
I mean, and we're talking like late 80s, right? So it's not reps like they have these days where you got a whole program and a group of coaches. Where you're talking talent scout turns up, says come and try out. You go and try out. Maybe the two different tryouts, and I didn't feel like I was. A lot of the tryouts was like passing drills and stuff, right? And I was failing, but I was a hooker, which is like in rugby league, you pick the ball up off the ground. Perfect for me because I can sort of see the ball. I can just follow the play. Do that, just look for opportunities that are all in my vicinity. It's all right here. I'm not getting involved in big backline plays, so I just learnt at a very early age how to add value and where to fit into a team.
and as you said, back when you first got diagnosed, you had a little bit more eyesight than you do now.
Yes,
From a,
well, double. So I'm
2%
now. I had 5%, and I had that 5% until I was about 40 years old.
Yeah, right. So nowadays, would you be able to play footy the way you did then?
No.
No. Okay, cool. And that's just from people listening, thinking, hang on a minute, if you two are sitting there saying that you can, you can both see in a similar degree, they'd be listening to me going, there's no way Ben could play footy.
Yep.
But yeah, you had double the amount,
Therefore, which is
you're
still
not
still sweet fuck all compared to a normal person. But yeah,
but you're not out the back at fullback catching the big high balls as they're coming down.
No.
Yeah,
and that's what ended my career. So when I'm like 16, no, seriously, when I'm 16, I come back from a year of glandular fever. I missed a season because I got sick, and the doctors basically said if I played, At that point I was playing rugby union, so I transitioned from league to union.
Yep.
And I was playing ice hockey as well. And the doctor said if you get a stick under the ribs or a tackle under the ribs, you could die. Your spleen could rupture. So I missed the whole season. By the time I came back, you talk like under 16s. Every kick, if you got a kid on the other team that's got a bad left knee, you can guarantee you he's getting tackled on that knee every opportunity. That's been
always the way in it.
That's been coached, right? That's what you. But it's competition, and that's how you win. If there's a blind kid on the other team that's only got 5% vision, every kickoff is going straight to that kid.
It's a competitive advantage.
100%.
Yeah.
You use it, right? It's like like I was.
Hey, I would coach it.
I would too.
If I was coaching and there was a half blind kid in the team, I'd be saying throw the ball to him.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Kick the ball at him. So these things. So anyway, so I went from skimmed over a lot of it, but yeah, played ice hockey, played footy. I actually in my rep team, that was one of the things that happened. It was one of the first. I didn't find this out as well until I was in my mid-20s. But so I made this team. I got selected. Ended up doing okay in the second tryout. The first one didn't feel like I'd performed at all. Second one, I actually got to play in my position. Did really well. Got selected. And the whole expanse of our representative level playing was like a 1 weekend round robin, right? But you get to play like the 80s, mate. NRL was huge. We used to have footy cards we played with at school. Like it was a big thing. So I remember playing against the Magpies, the Western Sydney Magpies, in our first game, and I played hooker for the whole game. And I scored the winning try. It was even towards with a couple of minutes to go. Yeah. And my signature move was a run down the blind side, which is always good for a blind guy.
Hey, got to stick to what you're good at.
But I sort of saw that there was only a couple of defenders on that, so I went scooted through and got a little dummy half try. But then didn't play again for the whole comp, and just sat there with my headgear in my hands, waiting to be called up to play again. And I didn't find out till 15 years later. That the head coach for the whole of the juniors had come up. So I'm playing under 11s. The head coach had come up to my coaches and found out that I was legally blind, and said, I'm not having a kid with a disability take the field. If he gets injured, I'm not being responsible for that, so he can't take the field. And then my dad found out, nearly had a full punch up with this guy. Basically, but the guy wouldn't back down. Dad was saying, well, like you guys have selected him, you've put him through the trials, he's done training. He's just scored the winning try in your first game, but you're not letting him take the field. The guy's like, mate, no, I didn't know about any of this, and I've just found out, and he's not taking the field. So, but I sat there and didn't play for the rest of it, thinking that it was that I thought that I'd done something wrong, or I didn't fit in. And you might think, but my parents never told me what happened, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was just about to say. But your parents never told you, obviously, to protect you.
Yes.
Because they don't want you to feel like it was your eyesight that held you back.
Correct, which people listening will go, what? Surely you're telling that, because then it makes him realise that it wasn't his performance. He did play well, it was just his eyesight that didn't include him. But that's not how my parents parented me, and that's why I'm the man I am today. Because if they told me that it was my eyesight, then it would have made me realise that I'm not included, I'm not given the same standards, I'm not held to the same level as everybody else. So they made me feel like I hadn't performed. And because I can change my performance, I can work harder, I can do things to change my physicality, I can do things to change my strategy. I can't do anything to change my eyesight. No. So they let me believe that it was the performance, not the eyesight, that stopped me playing that game.
I think that's a great call on their behalf.
Yeah,
because otherwise you're sitting there thinking, well, if that's what that coach thinks, that's what the next coach is going to think.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that just sends you down the path of giving up.
100%.
Because the reason you haven't been given the opportunity is because of something you can't control.
Yeah. And look, we probably shouldn't say this, but I'm just going to say it because it's who I am. That's why, unfortunately, a lot of people with a disability have the woe is me mentality, because they're told they're not able to do something because of their eyes, because of their disability, regardless of vision or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's their lived experience, that you can't because of your difference. Therefore, they go, well, that's my lived experience, so I won't, because there's no point in me trying because I won't be included.
And you can understand it.
100%.
When you get told that over and over and over again,
yeah.
And especially whilst you're growing up at such an impressionable young age, when you're trying to find your way in the world and just be exactly that, included, and you're getting excluded, not because you're not good enough, because of simply something that you can't control about yourself, being whatever disability it is.
Yep.
You can see how like you said, so many people with disability potentially end up with what is seen as and heard as a victim sort of mentality.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one because the woe is me can wear you down a little bit when you're around people like that. But if you had have been told that, you can quite easily look back in hindsight and probably say, well, I probably would have felt a bit woe is me as well if I had have known that that's why I wasn't getting the call up and the opportunity.
And look, we'll get into my achievements later on, but there's no way. My list of achievements is like, it just goes on for too long to list, right? It's just ridiculous. And it's all happened in the last 15 years. There was actually, my eyesight never was my biggest challenge. I actually ended up in a lot worse situation, and we'll go through that too. But I now realise, because I was as a keynote speaker, I speak to, I've spoken to, if you think about the biggest logos you can think of in the world, I've spoken to them, right? All people after I speak come up and they say, oh my God, your blindness, how do you do all things with your blindness, your biggest challenge, rah, rah. We all have disabilities. I believe, like, I grew up in a loving family. My parents were together. My father died this year, but until he died, they were together. They gave me this framework of there's no such thing as can't, and why not mentality, which we'll go into. I've just written a book entitled Why Not, and the why not is the fuel for my whole life. It's like I was given that, which is the greatest gift. And people talk about generational wealth, right? I talk about generational gifts. And I think my gift, the values and behaviours that my parents gave me, makes me less disabled than most people that don't have a disability, because they're not given that generational gift.
So when you say you got given a gift, are you talking about the mindset they instilled in you?
100%.
Yeah. And they were, which is very similar. I mean, probably more so my old man, but both my parents absolutely were big ones when I lost my eyesight, of going, hey, Ben, just because you've lost your eyesight, we're not going to wrap you in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Where all the things you used to be able to do, we're still going to do.
Yeah.
We're just going to find a different way of doing them.
Yes.
And I love the story that I've heard you share about the drop saw, for instance, because my old man was the exact same with whether it be power tools or this, that, or the other. It's like, hey, you're probably not going to do it the exact same way that everyone else does it, but let's just find a different way of doing it. How old were you when your old man was teaching you how to use a drop saw?
I was probably, I don't know, like, I was using power tools most of my life. I'd say closer to 10 than 15. So probably be in that like 11, 12 range.
Yeah, and people out there listening will be going, hang on a minute. Your old man, not only did he sign you up for rugby, not only did he support you going into ice hockey, he's then got his blind kid at 10 or 12 years old using power tools as well. Like, what is going on here? But like you said, in a way, that's been their gift to you.
100%.
From an attitude point of view.
Look, and people will go, well, what? The question will be like, why would he be using a drop saw? Surely he can't use a drop saw. Like, he can't measure a piece of wood. So why would you be cutting a piece of wood if you can't measure the piece of wood?
Well, there's plenty of ways. Well, I mean, I'm sitting here going, well, you can measure a piece of wood.
But I'm talking about what people are listening to right now. Their brains are reeling, going, well, hang on, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah.
How does that work? So how did you do it? Because I've got the way that I did it, but I actually think it might be different.
Okay, cool. I'd love to hear the way you do it. So I measure by feel.
Yep.
So even if I need to cut like a 3 meter length, if it's against something, I'll go up to it and I'll actually carry the 3 meter length to what I need to cut it, and then I lock my finger down and I'll push the piece of wood into the other end, and then I'll lock it onto the end where it's going to, and I'll lock my finger down. So that's my measurement of where it needs to get cut to.
Yep.
And I carry the wood back to the drop saw. I try to always use my right hand as my measuring hand, and because my drop saw is a right-handed drop saw.
Yep.
And then I'll cross my hands over. I use my left hand to release it, and I push the blade down so it comes down right next to my finger. So I'll never get it perfect straight away. So I know that I've come down, but I'm never putting my hand near the motor trigger. But I'm just pushing it down. Then I move my hand over. I slide the piece of wood over till the whole time I got my measuring finger locked onto that measurement.
Yep.
Until the blade's butted up against my finger. I know that it's perfect cut. Once I know that's happened, I then put the blade back up. I put my left hand down. I lock the piece of timber so it's not going to move with my left hand. I then remove my right hand, which has been my measuring trigger. It then becomes my
trigger
finger.
Yep.
And then put it up onto the blade. do a double check that all my hands have been removed. So Dab is big on talking about what's perceived risk and real risk, and always remove all the perceived risk because that's noise, and just think about real risk. So I'm at this point in time, this is the highest risk thing that I'm about to pull the trigger, right? So it's a triple check, make sure that both hands are away. I haven't left anything down there that's going to cut or flick or anything because I can't see, right? If I've set it up and I've left the power cable, that's bad. So I've had to I know that I've checked everything. I know that I've removed everything because I can't see anything that could be an obstruction. Cool, I've made my decision. I'm okay. Turn the motor on, cut the piece of timber.
Yeah, that's when we're holding our breath and going, well, not even holding your breath because you've done all your checks.
I've done it thousands of times. Like I do I've done retaining walls. I've built sheds. I've built everything around my house with that drop saw, right?
Yep.
So now it's just, I've been doing plumbing this week. So I've been cutting 90 mil stormwater with my drop saw. So it's it's muscle memory now. But yeah, you definitely when you're doing new skills or using new tools, it's like triple checking everything to make sure that you're not, because you don't have that extra sense, right? Which most people is their baseline sense, but we don't have that at all. So we're using other senses.
Yeah, see that's probably what I need to set up is the drop saw, because I was using the old cordless circ saw.
No.
This week, which I've done plenty of times before, and it works well for long, like bigger pieces of timber, flooring.
So
board.
how do you do a straight cut though? Because that's like, how do you know that? Do you cut a bit and then feel where you are, and then cut a bit and then feel where you are?
No. So for that, I've got two different things that I use. So I've got a talking tape measure.
Okay.
So Vision Australia, through their shop, they've got a talking tape measure.
Yep.
And then rather than using my finger to mark the timber and needing my finger to stay on that exact spot at the same time, I'll mark it, have the talking tape measure there, measure my exact length.
Yeah.
So in between where I need to cut or whatever length it is.
Yeah.
And then off the back of the tape measure.
Yeah.
Because the cool thing is there's a button on it that says including case or not including case.
Yeah.
So you can either measure from the front of the tape measure,
that's good,
or the back straight edge of the tape measure.
Yeah, right.
So I go, right, including case, that starts at a 95 mil measurement.
Yeah.
Pull it out. There's your 300 mil including case.
Yeah.
Then I get a serrated knife blade out on a Leatherman.
Yeah.
So like pocket knife, serrated blade, cut that tiny little groove.
Yeah.
Which is essentially your pencil mark, but I can feel that groove.
Yep.
And then I drop the drop saw into that groove.
But if you're using a circular saw, not a drop saw,
so then I'll measure.
How do you know that you're going straight?
So then I'll mark that on both sides.
Yeah.
Then I'll get a straight edge.
Yeah.
Clamp that, your 28 mil.
And you cut along the side of the straight edge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then push your circ saw into that straight edge that I've clamped onto that. It's as you said, it's a process.
Get a drop saw.
Yeah, well, the old man's got a drop saw, but I just need to use it more because the three cuts that I did yesterday were none of which were square, or the same length, but they only needed to be rough anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, if it moves, like, 'cause there's so many things that could go wrong there. Like the set, if it moves, if your clamps might move slightly, or the blade catches on the square and throws it at your face, which is not going to end well either. Anyway. We digress again.
We do, but that's all part of it. I think that's the fascinating part for probably so many people listening, and even me sitting here, is exactly that, comparing the pair. And so many people, whether it's meeting a blind person, meeting someone who's in a wheelchair, any disability. Oh, I know a blind guy, and therefore all blind people. It's like, everyone does things differently, just as all human beings do.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean that they can't do certain things. That it just means they might all go about a different pathway to get to the same destination.
And something I've learned, like I sit on boards, and I've got an Order of Australia medal for my contribution to the disability community. So I do a lot of work with disability. Yep. I used to think that it was the disability that therefore determined how people operate. And what so we just talked about two different processes for cutting a piece of wood. But it turns out that we could have exactly the same disability, but we both have a different accessibility requirement because of our preferred way to approach something.
Yeah.
So,
your desk setup at work might be completely different to mine.
Yeah.
And then completely different to the next blind person's. And that's just the uniqueness of, we've all technically got a very similar disability. Yeah. But the way in which we do things to achieve similar results is completely different.
Yep.
And that's the world we live in. There's so many different options and different ways of doing different things.
Yep.
Which is cool. Now, before we got on to cutting wood,
yes,
where were we?
We're playing footy, and then I think we'll skim through a lot of that.
No, the gift, the
generational gift.
generational gift, the
Yeah.
mindset,
Yes.
the why not.
Should I go in? Let me tell people through the mine not, because I think it's important. So, Dad being a sales guy, right? So he basically leaves. He was running big grog companies. He gets the diagnosis that we'll go back to the diagnosis when the professor says, your son's not the son you thought you had. He's basically got no options anymore. He leaves that meeting. He goes straight to a meeting with the Cronulla Sharks rugby league team with their board to sign a multi-year big contract. And they're standing there trying to push him down and whatever. And he just stands up in the middle of this negotiation and walks out. He said it felt like the floor was just dropping out from underneath him. His whole world was just disappearing because his little son that he had was just being told that his son's life's over. So he just gets up and they're in this board meeting. He's about to sign a multi-million-dollar deal. He just walks out of the room.
Far out.
But that's the world he lived in, right? So he lived in this negotiation, high stakes, whatever.
Yep.
Ran sales teams, and he had guys like grown men, professional men that are lifetime sales guys, negotiating with him every day.
Yeah.
So when his 8-year-old boy comes home and says, "Dad, I can't do my homework because X," he says, "Why not?" Instead of saying, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, my dad said there's no such thing as can't. You can't." No, you hear that all the time. The way my dad did it was he wouldn't say there's no such thing as can't, which is what he was sort of saying, and he did say that every now and then. But what he would actually say is, "Why not?"
And then when you answer that question, you then hear yourself that your answer to that question is often more of an excuse than an actual legitimate reason.
So we'll go back to tradie stuff. One of the first things you ever taught me to do is to hammer a nail into a piece of wood, right?
Yeah, simple stuff, but
But when you're blind, so Dad, I can't do this. Why not? Because I can't see the nail. So okay, so we don't have a can't hammering problem. We've got a I can't see the nail problem. So talk about that. Talk about it for me. Tell me why you can't. Why not? So then I'd say, because I'm blind, I can't see. So what's another way that you would know where the nail is? I can feel it. Okay, so you put your hands on the top, you start hammering with your fingers there, then you slide your fingers down and get them away from it, and you know where it is, and you get the rhythm going, and then you nail it. So we build a process around your can't that, by explaining what your can't is, you start finding the solution.
Yeah, and he's not giving you the solution.
No, never.
He's helping you find the solution yourself, which
is
I think is a huge difference.
Yeah, and if you're a leader out there, this is one of the best leadership skills you can have. Because if you give everyone the answers, they're not going to learn. If you let them build it themselves, they are going to become such more capable human beings.
Love that. I mean, no different to whether it's leadership, parenting.
Well, parenting is leadership.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Like you're a role model of some description.
Yeah.
And it's no different in sport, high performance, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
You're not going to build the capability of people around you by doing it for them.
No.
Like everyone loves hates nothing more than a micromanager.
Yes.
That wants to do everything for you because they feel like they're the only ones who can do it.
Yeah, but it would have been great every now and then for Dad just to say, "This is how you do it, mate."
It would have made things a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot quicker, but it's not the point sometimes.
Well, I might not have been the human I am today if he did that either. So
yeah exactly.
Yeah.
He'll look back and go, no, if I had done that, you wouldn't have been big wave surfer, mate. So you can thank me later.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So how did school go for you, mate? Because school for you and me must have been very different. You lost your eyesight just as school was starting.
Yep.
I lost it 80% of the way through.
Yep.
Very, very different stages of life when we both lost it there.
Yep.
How did that evolve? Like you said, you stayed at mainstream schooling, but did you get through it well? How did it all work?
So you told me before we did this pod that, it's language is okay.
Yeah.
School was fucking shit house.
Yeah, mate, call a spade, and if it was fucking shit, it was fucking shit.
It was literally. Well, I learned to fight at school. That's all I really learned. I mean, I did learn other things. I learned behavioural stuff.
I taught you something.
Like I learned a bunch of skills that I've gone on
life
to use.
skills.
Yeah, but no, the kids would go to lunch, right? I would have mates, and I could play handball. Like I could hear the ball. If people could play handball, I could hear the ball leave someone's hand, hit the ground. So I had the trajectory of it from its hand to the ground. And then I just wait for it to, and I'd sort of know by, you build reps and you can, so I could do most of the sports that everyone was doing just in different ways.
Yeah.
And then we played cards, we'd flick cards at a wall. I learned how to trap an air pocket under it, and I could sort of walk and touch the wall and walk back to the starting point so I could work. So there's ways that I could do most things and compete. But But the problem I had is I had to stay with the boys. So if a teacher said, Matt, stay back, because they were not sure that I'd understood everything, that was like they just executed me. Because as soon as I had to stay back, I could then never find my friends. So then I was isolated. So I'd spend the whole lunch by myself.
Yeah. So once you were stuck, you were stuck.
Yes.
In no man's land.
Yep. And I could walk around, but then I'd sometimes run down, and then you okay, oh yeah, I know it's, you know, you bluff, you bravado your way through it. So I remember one day going down and we were playing like kiss and catch with the girls. It was like the game we were playing at the time. You know, that was the thing. So I ran down into where I thought our group was and ran in and grabbed this girl and planted a kiss on her cheek. And I was in like year 3, right? And then all of a sudden I realised it's not someone I know, and it's one of the year 4 girls, and it's the year 4s playing, and they all just go, "Oh, you loser, blind kid," like just literally ripping into me, like, "Go away, you got no friends. Where are your friends, blind boy? Go away." So then I walk away, but I don't know where my friends are.
Fuck them.
So I'm just like walking away, and then I have to go away and just marinate by myself in that self-hatred, because I feel shit house, right? Because I've just done that thing to that girl, like, you know. So I once again just feel like I'm, you know, and so this is the contrast. So at school, like, kids walk up and say, "How many fingers am I holding up?" And just far enough away, like I could never see them, be like a blur. And that was a funny joke for everyone. And then it got worse towards high school. It'd be like kids would run under, like be playing like a sport, like it's some sort of chasing game, whatever it is, tip or whatever.
Yep.
And then they'd run towards a tree, and then they'd go under a branch, and at the last minute they'd duck, and I'd just run face first straight into a branch. And they were talking big trees, like not a little fluffy branch, like I'd knock myself out sort of branch. And then it just got worse. At the high school, it just got more and more brutal. So like I was probably one of the first kids in Australia to have a laptop, which was given to me for an accessibility tool. But the thing is, there was no accessibility on it, so I couldn't actually see anything I was typing, but I was just touch typing, which, you know, in itself is you said before about writing as a way of learning and mapping things out in memory. But I would type my work. I'd walk away to talk to a student, come back, and someone's deleted all of it. So I just lost all my work.
Kids are shit,
they just
aren't they?
highlight, delete. So they were. But these are kids that I would say, like, I'm playing in the first 15 at footy, right? I'm a kid that can hold my own. I'm doing well in maths. I was in the top maths group. So I'm a good student, and I'm a good athlete. But then these kids that I would perceive as being not as good at me at either of those things would think they could bully me. So it wasn't the traditional bullies that were bullying me. It was kids that got bullied that were bullying me because I thought that
you were the easy target.
I was the easy target, and I was lower than them. Because of my disability, I was lower than them in the pecking order.
Yeah, right.
And that's where I learnt violence, because I learnt, you know, well, I did because
when all else fails.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. Like when I was 10, a kid came up to me, and I'd never do. I think I've always been big on standing up for others. I've got a little sister, and dad. My dad always told me that, you know, I remember like one of the scariest things as a kid was Dad would go out to Rotary. Dad was the secretary of the local Rotary club, and he'd go out on a Monday night, and he'd say, Matty, you're the man of the house now. You got to look after the girls, which was my mum and my little sister.
Yep.
And I'm this 10-year-old, and he probably thought it was a joke. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, you're the man of the house. I would lay in bed terrified and hear every little scratch of a tree outside and everything until he came home. Because I was like, but I've always had this thing about looking after others. But anyway, so this kid goes, and I love magic. Like I believe in magic. So I go from reading like a full-on business book, then I'll read a science book, and then I'll read like a crazy sci-fi or fantasy book.
Hang on, what do you mean you believe in magic?
I don't believe in magic.
Like, are we talking like
my biggest
dragons and shit?
Oh, mate, give me a dragon. I'd love to have a dragon. That would be like my ultimate dream.
But they don't exist.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So you're full blown into, like, as in that's just an interest.
Well, I don't have dragon figurines on my wall or anything like that. Like, you know.
Right.
But I like reading those types of books. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's just like it just lets my brain turn off for a bit, right? I don't actually believe in dragons. But anyway, I've always loved.
But magic. You can go into that fantasy.
I love
style
the idea
world.
of it.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it.
So you're a Harry Potter fan?
It's probably not my favourite. No.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. My wife absolutely loves that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, that'll be a whole different rabbit hole. Let's not go there.
Yeah. I'm not Harry Potter either, but I was just, when you said dragons.
No. Mine's a lot more deeper than Harry Potter, mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that is a whole
worlds and multiple books, like books that are like For audiobooks, they're like 36-hour books, and I've read there's 10 books in the series.
Yeah. So this is diving into a whole made-up world.
Yes. Different languages, everything. Anyway, so
Yeah.
we're digressing.
Wow. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
But
yeah.
I love that sort of stuff, right? So
That's not what Matt's book's about. Just so
not-
everyone knows, hang in there.
And it doesn't get mentioned in my book either. But the reason I'm saying that is I believed in Santa forever. So longer than most kids in my year, because I just loved the magic of it.
I'm all about that,
Yeah.
and I'll share this story because I think I probably believed in it for a fair while too. I
Yep.
don't know how old were you when you stopped believing? Do you reckon?
Like 10, maybe even 11.
Yeah, I reckon I was 11 or 12.
Yeah.
So I'd stuck with it for a fair while. I think being the eldest also helps because you don't have older siblings.
Yep.
So we were both the eldest by the sounds, other than 13 years with your stepbrother.
Yeah.
But he's then old enough to know not to ruin it for you.
Yes.
I had this thing where I'm toying in my head going, nah, Santa's not real.
Yep.
And then I'm laying in bed on this one Christmas Eve, and I'm talking in my head as if I'm praying to Santa.
Yeah.
Like as if Santa's the good Lord that I'm getting to pray to. I'm like, right, Santa, I'm bargaining with him.
100%.
I'm like, mate, if you're real tonight, I know my Santa sack is currently on the end of my bed. I want you to leave it out in the lounge room.
How good.
Right?
Yeah.
Apparently that night, Mum commando crawls in with my sack. And then I sit bolt upright in bed. I look her dead in the eye. She drops to the ground. I'm asleep. I don't remember this at all. She goes, fuck this. I'm not risking this. So she put the sack out in the lounge room.
Oh, cool.
So I've woken up the next morning going, fucking Santa's real. This is unreal. Like, he listened to me. He heard my prayers.
And he may have, and that was how he
And I got through a whole nother year.
Yeah.
Whole nother year with Santa.
It's the best thing, mate. And now that you got kids, how good is it? Like Santa's the best.
It is the best.
Yeah.
It is the absolute best.
And so this kid comes up to me when I'm 10 or 11 years old at school. Santa's not real. I'd never had a punch up with anyone. and I'd been
Your first punch up was over Santa.
It was, and I'd never had I'd always had all this bullying and kids, and I was like, and he's like, and I was like, mate, say it again. And I was like, if you say it again,
as if you're like, hey, if you talk shit about my mum, it's like, no, if you talk shit about Santa one more time,
I'll knock you out. He's like, and I was like, Santa's not real, and I was like, mate, you literally, if you say it one more time, I'm going to punch you in the head. And he said it again, and I punched him as hard as I could in the face.
Hey, mate, Santa would be very grateful.
Yeah. Anyway, he ends up with a bloody nose. Stuff happens, you know what I mean?
Rudolph.
Yeah, it's good. So, but what happens from that? He never bullies me again.
And he also doesn't talk shit about Santa.
Never says anything about Santa, because it would have gone to another level, I think, the next time. And I think it wasn't much longer after that I sort of realised what was going on. But I still love the idea of it, right? So I don't want to know that Santa's not real, because I think there's just a beauty in it.
Oh, there's still always the magic of Christmas, and people can choose to ruin that with their own attitude.
Yes.
Or they can choose to embrace it for the people around them. Like, you can still lean into it.
Yes. Yep. And mate, I live in a very stressful world in most things I do. It's not stressful for me because I've learnt the capacity of dealing with it. But for me to be able to go into a world where I can ride dragons every now and then, that's the same sort of thing as Santa. It's 100% the same.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I learned that this kid had been one of the kids that had been saying, how many fingers am I holding up, and throwing things at me in class, and like a rubber, and I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, so Santa was the last straw.
Yeah, but this kid never, ever, ever, from that point on, never says another word to me about anything.
So you've all of a sudden learnt the value of standing up for yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
So the next time a kid says to me, how many fingers am I holding up? I just go, how many fingers do you want to keep?
Oh, all of a sudden he's got a bit of attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just an attitude, it's like there's a psycho attitude. Like
So this is now chip on the shoulder attitude.
It's not quite chip on the shoulder at this point, but it's emotionally charged, because you're not having a go at me because it's not banter.
No,
it's not like
this is nasty. It's teasing. It's poking fun at me. It's not having fun with me.
And I know, like I'm at this point, I'm 10, 11, 12. Yeah. I've been playing footy for 5 years. I'm tackling kids that are heaps bigger than you, and I'm smashing them. And you're standing here in a schoolyard. You don't play footy. and you're having the audacity to say to me, how many fingers am I holding up, and laugh at me? Like, mate, fucking do it again and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, fingers got broken. Dad got called in and to school, and there was meetings with teachers, whatever. So this goes on. But anyway, it goes to the point in high school, and that's when the chip starts to come on. Because then it's like I basically don't ever lose a fight. You can hit me, you can do whatever you want, but I don't care because I don't feel the physical pain because the emotional pain is too much charge. So I'll just go until you stop.
Yeah, you'll run off the emotional pain, the adrenaline,
100%,
and fight your way out of it.
Yep. So, and I just more psycho, do you know what I mean, than other people. So it just got, but then I realised, because I did it so often, when I left school, that's when the real big chip came in. And that's where I ended up in this. I talk about my biggest challenge, not even my blindness. That was I went off the rails and lost myself. At the same time, I was, so I played footy. All this is happening at school. At footy was different. The boys never mentioned my eyesight ever. At ice hockey, never mentioned my eyesight. I remember one training session, one boy says, "Oh, you missed the tackle, blind boy." The other boys, the whole training session stopped, and all the boys just went, I won't mention his name, but like, you need to apologise to Matty right now.
Yeah, he's our teammate.
Yeah,
camaraderie.
Yeah, and they basically said like, and you've missed so many more tackles than him, so I'd sort yourself out before you make it, but just don't make that comment again, otherwise we'll sort you out. And so, but they would say to me, you missed the tackle because you're soft, or you missed the tackle because you weren't switched on.
Yeah,
like, which is what they said to all the other boys. So they treated me like. They're still calling me out for stuff, but they're just not using my disability as the thing.
Stock standard banter. It's funny you say that. I had a very different but very similar conversation with our last guest a couple of weeks ago, Gibbo, about different banter and calling people out and the difference between sort of using names and doing harm with them and say going, oh, yeah, blind boy, compared to just calling you a fuckhead.
Yeah.
Like you can call everyone a fuckhead.
Yeah.
You can call everyone a wanker, but we're not singling that person out because of something they can't control about themselves.
And I think
it makes you feel so much better, doesn't it?
If you're a good mate and you say, blind boy, and I've just spilt milk in the kitchen and everyone's having a laugh, great. If you're some kid that's trying to have a go because of something and it's emotionally charged and you're actually trying to verbally assault me, that's not okay.
Yeah, but be my mate first, get to know me.
Yes.
And then like I will take the piss out of you to the same level that you can take it out of me because we're mates. Just because I can't see doesn't give you license to take the piss out of that.
Yeah. And look, mate, I didn't want to be mates with that guy anyway because we had different values and different morals and he did different work ethic. So he basically was seeing, because he was getting called out by the boys for not making tackles. So he saw it as a way to get out at someone else.
Don't look at me, look at him.
Yes, 100%. So anyway, that all happens and then I take violence into my life and just go try and I get in pub fights. So I go into pubs and if a bloke pushes in front of me in the line, it's basically that emotional charge of the kid that had run me into the branch or the kid that was throwing a rubber at me from across the room. So I'm thinking this guy's intentionally taking the piss out of me because I can't see.
Whether he was or he wasn't.
Well, I'd never used a cane. So there's no way it absolutely wasn't.
Oh, so you're not even using a cane at this point. Like you said, you've still got 5% at this point in time.
Yeah.
You're getting around without a cane.
Yeah.
Someone just brushes past you and you're like, I've got all this pent up.
Yes. And I can't see if it's a mate or who it is, right? So I just grab whoever it is because I can't see faces or I can't see detail. I just see like the outline of like a cartoon character. So I just grab him and go, what the fuck are you doing?
Just like pub fight roulette. Did you have mistaken identity ones with mates at pubs?
Yeah, and the boys would be just like, Matty, fucking calm down. It's just me. I'd be like, well, can you not push in front of me, please?
Yeah, but lucky they didn't put on the accent and go, no, well, what do you mean?
No, they knew, mate. They knew. I was very, very charged, ready to go at any point.
They would have been on edge around you.
They were. Yeah. And they were ready to, at all times when we left the pub, because that was obviously people have been kicked out. Everyone outside the pub, that's the biggest risk for an escalation.
Yep.
So they would basically perform, they've talked about this since then, they would almost form a perimeter around me because I'd walk, because when I was in the pub, I had my maps and I'd know where my safe lanes were to walk through and not run into people.
Yep.
And I could memorise where the toilets were and I could memorise all these things. As soon as we move out, it's more free, and there's gutters and there's poles, and I'm trying to walk around, and I'm obviously, double blind by this point. So I'd normally follow a wall, and walls are normally where people stand. So then I'd run into someone, and then they'd want to have a go, and as soon as someone wanted to have a go, I was way up for it. So it would just escalate.
You're like, if you're offering, let's go.
Yes.
Let's take it on.
Let's go.
So you're in pub fights
Yep.
as a part-time job.
Yes.
What are you doing after school in terms of work, aspirations?
Yep.
What's the goal once you've finished school, other than getting in fights?
So I leave school. I go into. I've lost sport. So I'd because so I'd done that. The glandular fever got me out of sport. I came back, wasn't contributing anymore. So I stopped playing footy and ice hockey. So I just drifted into this world of other people's. I've just forgotten the word, but basically other people's approval. That was my sport. So
sort of winning others over and
yeah. So I was lifting weights not to be a better footy player, do stronger tackles, just to have bigger muscles and look good.
yeah,
And pick up chicks.
just to fit in.
To basically to intimidate guys in pubs, fight people in pubs, and pick up chicks. That was it. That was my sport. It's just
Not a long-term career sort of aspiration, but at the time,
well, it's like I'm proud of who I am right now. Like I've done some pretty cool things, right? So I can say this: the person I was right then wasn't proud of who I was at the time, but I didn't know what else to do. And I wasn't.
So you would describe yourself as lost.
I was more than lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go into. I didn't do well at school because of that. I hated school because I was just ready for a fight at any point. Just waiting for people to bully me, and the only time I loved school was playing footy.
Yep.
And so anyway, I leave school. I do massage therapy and personal training, and so I do like a diploma. Sort of float around, doing labouring. I do a lot of labouring, which I love because it was like extra. I was getting paid to train basically, so I just love lifting heavy stuff. And then I run a business. So I basically grow my business to the point where I've employed other people.
When you say running a business, what were you doing?
Massage therapy, personal training.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yep. And then so I started out of my home. Then I eventually moved into a premises, and I've got other people working for me. I'm doing and then I move away from the massage therapy stuff, start doing personal training. But I realised that's not for me because a lot of it is not giving people it's pumping people up and letting them to get them to come back. You got to keep telling them how good they are and that they're doing great, even though they're just not doing the work, which is not who I am. So anyway, I have a bad breakup, and the business, like in that type of industry, you're with people you need to have good energy. Like you're giving people energy, they're paying for your energy basically.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that energy, and so I sold the business to one of my employees. Went up to the country and basically rode motorbikes, rode horses, and just got healthy for a while.
Where'd you head to?
My parents at that point had moved up to Nabiac, which is up on the north coast near Foster.
Oh yeah, nice.
Foster Tuncurry.
Yep.
And so they had so they moved from our place at Narrabeen. They got a place that had like a kilometre of water frontage on this river.
Oh, beautiful.
It was wild. And then either side of the property there was like 100. So they had about 150 acres. And then on one side of them there was a block that was owned by the RTA, which was basically earmarked for another freeway they might put through at some point.
Yep.
So it was just free land. And then the other side was 600 acres owned by this law firm that was just an investment property. So I had access to like almost 1,000 acres. And so I could memorise on my motorbike trails and set trails up, and then I could go real slow. So I'd start them at like a walking pace.
Yep.
And then I'd go faster and faster and faster until the point where I could beat my mates that could see on a motorbike. So I just did that, but I just lifted weights and by that point I'd got unfit. Like I'd just been partying so much and just wasn't looking after my body that I'd sort of lost weight. So then I just basically, I got myself healthy, ate well, was with mum and dad. But then I was isolated on that farm, so I wanted to get back to the city. Came back to the city, realised that all the work, all the jobs that I'd been doing were like labour intensive. So I was using my body. So I was by the massaging, personal training was using my body, labouring was using my body. I was like, as a blind person, and this is pre-Uber or any of these technology jobs, right? The only jobs really available to people that if you lose your eyesight, or anyone, if you lose your body, is these entry level jobs, which is like working in a supermarket or working as a taxi driver like a checkout person. As a blind person, you can't do any of those jobs. So entry-level jobs are off
Yeah,
the table.
I was going to say, I don't reckon too many people would get in a taxi with you or I driving.
No. So I realised that if I lost my body, I wouldn't have employment.
Growing up, did you have something that you wanted to be?
Marine biologist.
Yeah, okay. Because growing up on the coast, swimming, surfing.
Diving, yeah.
Yep.
I love marine biology. If you look at all the like science experiments, like the science, if you look at all the science, what are they called, like assignments and stuff I did at school,
Yep.
they're all on marine biology. And then all my art that I'd drawn was all fish and underwater stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Just love the water.
Yep.
And then you obviously got to the point where you either finish school and go, that's not for me anymore,
Yeah.
or
Well, I would have needed to have done
better at school.
3-unit maths, chemistry, a bunch of subjects that I didn't do.
Yep.
And I would have needed to have done well. I mean, marine biology is one of those subjects that there's so many, like I think it's one of the most popular courses you can do in Australia, therefore has a very high entry level.
And it doesn't have a high intake of people either.
No. And then at the end of the output is that there's not a lot of jobs.
No.
So anyway, but that all aside, I still wanted to do it. But and it was funny. One of my mates that I played in my rugby team ended up becoming a professor, one of the top most respected professors in the field.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, 100%.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so that was what I wanted to do. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was most floating. I just wanted to, I would have loved to have been a pro surfer. This is the funniest thing. As a kid, my mates, I'd be surfing because I surf by feel, right? We can go into how I surf, but my brother and my dad would push me into waves in my body, but I learned to feel my stomach, and they'd do everything for me. I'd ride the wave, then they'd pull me back out the back. Then I started listening to the waves and started using that information to be able to get out the back by myself. And then they'd start talking to me, say, there's a wave coming now, and I'd feel it. I'd use the combination of them talking and the feel, and then I'd just transition to all feel, so I could surf autonomously by myself. And then at 11, I basically stood up and started surfing. So I've been surfing for a long time. But I'll be out the back surfing at Narrabeen, and the boys be like, imagine if they let you blind cunts compete against each other. By the way, that's the first time I've ever used the C word in public.
That's fine, mate.
I figure this is the place for it.
This is the place for it, absolutely.
But I always say you blind C's or whatever. But anyway, they actually said, but the boys were like, imagine if they let you blind cunts, you'd beat everyone. No one would beat you. and we'd all laugh and go, no, that'll never happen. It'll be carnage. It'll be running each other. It'll be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
That'll never happen. And then, a while I go past, then I'd do a massive turn, and the boys are like, fuck, imagine if they let you blind cunts compete. And it would just be this ongoing joke. Anyway, I'm in 2016, I'm in Italy in base training for the Rio Paralympics and in cycling. And my mate texts me, and he's like, you're never going to fucking believe it. They're going to let you blind cunts compete against each other. And he sends me there's a link, a hyperlink to a website, and it's the announcement for the first ever World Championships for parasurfing with a blind category. So they were going to actually let us compete against each other.
Yeah, right. So that was something that you'd
Yeah.
grown up going, I can never aspire to be a pro surfer.
No.
Because I know I'm never going to be able to cut it with.
Well, I couldn't even read the priority flags. Like I can't see, I wouldn't even be able to finish a heat.
Yeah. But then if you, like you say, if there was a category where you're competing against other people with the same disability and
Yes.
there was a way to do it,
Yeah.
all of a sudden,
All in.
text message, you happen to be training for the Paralympics or in a training camp, which we'll get to, and you get that text message. How did that make you feel?
Well, mate, it was distracted me from the job I had at hand. I can tell you how much.
Because now you're thinking, fuck, I should be back training for surfing.
Like where I grew up, Narrabeen, we would go around surfing on the weekends or playing footy, right? You'd go past guys on bikes and be like, look at those fucking,
Cyclists, wankers.
shaved legs, what the fuck?
In the lycra.
What the fuck?
And you became one of them.
100%.
How did that happen?
So I did we're jumping around here, but I was at the end of this period where I'd lost myself, right? I was lost, and it was about a 10-year period. It wasn't, I'm going to tell you the down point, the bottom point.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, let's get to that. Let's pause because I think we were there.
Yeah.
And I'd love to go a little bit deeper there because it's one thing to say you're lost.
Yeah.
But now you're saying it was a 10-year period.
Yeah.
There must have been some real tough parts and dark moments in there, mate.
There was. One of them, and this is in the book, and it's the first time I've told this story properly, but I, around 20 years old, Christmas Eve, I'd been out, went to the Newport Arms, one of the local pubs, down in Pittwater, beautiful pub. I smuggle a full bottle of vodka in my pants into the club.
That's no mean feat.
Mate, seriously.
You must have had some baggy pants on back then.
Oh, or I just didn't have much else down there so I could fit it all in. I don't know, but yeah.
There was room to move.
But anyway, it's just, and it's summer, so it's not as if I would have had a big jacket on because it's summertime in Australia, right? So I don't even know how that happens, right? I just think
it happened.
It's just,
you get the full bottle in
it's
there.
the late 90s, right? Whatever, things are happening. So I get it in there. We just, the boys, we drink, we're buying, we don't just go, oh, let's get, this is buy soft drink and put the vodka in there. We're getting vodka drinks, putting more vodka in there. So, and we'd probably been drinking before we even got there as well, right? So
Recipe for disaster.
it's not going to end well. That happens. I basically, hours later, so I've basically teleported from Newport Arms. I wake up at the Mainovar, so I'm sitting at the Mainovar bus stop.
Teleported. I love that.
Yeah.
Don't know how I got there.
No. And it wasn't a good teleport. Yeah, so I basically wake up, become conscious at some sitting there, and it's middle of summer, right? It's Christmas Eve, and I'm just cold. It's the first thing I remember, and then I'd just be like, all the arm hairs and stuff, it's all matted, like, and then basically work out, I've been in enough fights at that point to work out what was going on, so there's blood all over me.
So you'd been in some sort of punch-up?
Been in a punch-up or something. But I'm fine. I check my face, everything's fine, nothing wrong with me. And I've lost a bit of skin off my knuckles and stuff, so I've obviously been involved in something. But then, no idea.
Can you tell if it's daytime, nighttime?
Yeah, I can tell it's nighttime. It's obviously dark. I can see enough to know that.
Yeah.
And I knew there was someone else at the bus stop, and I sort of asked them what time it was. So I knew it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And eventually, so I find my way home. Shirt's covered in blood. I basically put it in the bin, hide it under the garbage so that my parents don't find out. I'm living at home with mum and dad.
So is this up at their farm?
This is before they move up to the farm.
Okay, yep, righto.
I had moved out of home, and I'd moved back home. So I'd been out of home for about 18 months. I'd moved back into with them.
Yep.
And basically, but next day, wake up, pretending nothing's happened, sitting there, just feeling this guilt in my stomach. I'd been involved in something with someone, don't know who it is. To this day, I don't know who it was. Don't know what's happened to them. Don't know if the police are about to turn up my front doorstep. Pulling crackers on Christmas Day with my family, playing Happy Families, but just not sure. Just lost, mate. Just going, well, what's going? Like, I've just been in a punch. I don't know I have no memory of anything that happened. I obviously hurt someone really bad, and at this point, there was a few people saying to me, like, mate, you're going to die. Like, you're going to end up in something that you can't handle, and someone's going to kill you.
You're just out to write yourself off.
100%. And like, there's only like you've got 5% vision. Like, someone's going to punch you, and something you're not going to like. I could never see any punch coming. I just was quick enough and fast enough and strong enough and aggressive enough that things would get finished quickly.
Yeah, you get enough in quick enough that you
Yes.
don't give them an opportunity to punch back.
Yeah, I'd only ever take 2 or 3. That would be it, and I could handle that. But none of these people, none of them were trained. You know what I mean? If I came up against anyone that had any level of training, I would have got sort of totally dusted.
Which you don't know.
No, and this is the whole thing. And it shouldn't. None of that should have even been a conversation. So I shouldn't have been doing any of those things anyway, right? It was just horrible, bad behaviours, and but it was lived experience. I learned this lived experience that violence was the thing that fixed things. That was what I'd learned at school, but that was actually not what actually works in the real world.
Yeah.
So I had to unlearn that, and that was the hardest skill I ever learned.
What were your family saying on, like you say, playing Happy Families Christmas Day, obviously, but you say they played such a big role in you growing up, and the mindset that they instilled in you from that why not attitude.
Yeah.
And then you've got your mates who you were out with on Christmas Eve the night before. What was their recollection when you next caught up with them? Did you say, well, what the fuck happened? Like, how did we get from a bottle of vodka, all sharing it together, to a bus stop to home to who did you find out any pieces of that puzzle?
Nothing. Never to this day. And
mates didn't know either?
Talking to you, I think your mates that you had growing up were different to the mates that I had. So they weren't, I think I was probably the loosest, but none of them were much better. So they weren't wanting to punch on with everybody. They were less aggressive, but they were we were all writing ourselves off, mate. It was just
Yeah, so they're all waking up with no recollection either.
no one's got any idea what happened, and I could have been separated from them. We don't know what happened, but even like there was. I just don't remember them anyone saying, Matt, this is a different pathway you could go down. That was the pathway, and I had to find my own way out of it.
What was the turning point? So are you saying that's the low point?
That's the low point, and that's the start of the turn. So that's the point where I don't like go, there's no light bulb at that point, but it's like you're going to die or you're going to kill someone and you're going to end up in jail. Because all it takes is either coming across that person that this is just going to better you, or you do something that you're out of control, and something happens and someone falls over and hits their head on something, they're dead, and you're in jail. You're in jail, but also like I wasn't doing this to the point where I didn't care about other people either. Like in my daytime, I actually was a very compassionate person. Like I didn't want to hurt people, but then I'd get into this environment where I was just on with the boys and drinking and stuff, and I would just be that would be okay.
And using that as an escape.
Yes.
Yeah. As a Band-Aid approach, you think now looking back for all of that stuff you grew up with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but it was also the validation. Like I said, that was my sport, the validation. So if I was, I was cool. I was one of the boys. I was one of the men. If I was able to, if no one could better me in a punch up, and I could pull hot chicks and I could do all these things, then that was cool. That was success. Now I think
and what
that's
you
so
thought,
far from success.
And who you thought were hot chicks.
Yes, yeah. And that was all based off my mate's perception as well. I couldn't even. So this is how it was all based on everyone else's perception. I couldn't even see these chicks, right? So I'm in a club. The boys would walk up and I'd be dancing in a group of like with girls, and I'd be like, oh, cool. And the boys would whisper me. They go left 4, right 8.
Like so. So shallow, so materialistic, and I can relate to it because we had a similar process.
Yeah,
like it was tap on the hip as I was dancing with the girl was nut back away, tap on the shoulder was lean in and go for it, mate. And you're just trusting somebody else's judgment of what they think
and most
looks
of the time,
good and is good and
most of the time they were
worth
stitching me up as well. So they'd be like, if there was 4 of us in a group and there's 2 girls dancing with me and another mate, and he goes 4 on the left and 8 on the right. I've been like dancing close enough to touch the girl on the left hips, and that was the one that he said was a 4. He moves me over, so I chase the 8, and then I get there and I grab her on the hips, and she's the 4. So he stitched me up.
Yeah, well, he wanted the 8.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But like the fact that we're even having this conversation, it's disgusting. Apologies to any women listening, but that was just that was my reality at the time.
No, we are talking a long time ago.
Yes.
Where we're not saying it was right.
No.
I'm
saying it was very wrong.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not something we sit here and look back proudly about and go, that was just.
That's just the reality of it.
The reality of not being able to see and trying to find a way to achieve what you're out to achieve when you're at a club, and it's you look back now.
For me, it was the
Like,
validation. It was the it was like you're the man because you're doing these things, and you're successful. Like I didn't know where to, because I didn't fit into like that was, and I think there's a lot of this people now where they're going into these crazy mental things where they find their identity in some niche because that community accepts them. I don't think they actually, when they look back on that in 5 years' time, they might go, oh my God, I don't know why that was my identity at the time, but that's where they fit in. And so that was my identity was this bloke, out of control bloke that liked to punch on and try and pull chicks that my mates thought were hot.
And then you get to this point where you go, I don't know who I want to be, but I don't want to keep being this bloke.
That was the point. That's the sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know where the light is at the end of the tunnel. You don't know how to get out of this or what that's going to look like. No. So what was that process like for you? What did you turn to? What did you start doing differently?
So I went to the farm. I already told you that I did the motorbikes. I came back to Sydney. I got my first job, my first office job, because I knew that I couldn't rely on my body, and if I couldn't do an entry level job. So I wanted to have some sort of skills that relied on my brain. So I got an office job, which was just going to be a tentative thing for a bit, and then I was going to go back to doing personal training and massage. And then, 20 years later, I am where I am in the corporate scene. But
so did you go uni? Did you
not? No, I'd started I'd started in sales and worked my way up through the company. But it just all happened gradually. It got to a point where I had a decent job. On paper, it was okay. I bought my first property. But there was the real light bulb moment, like the acceleration point where I went from being that person that was lost. I came through, but I still kept having these failed relationships. So I got away from those guys. So that was the first things I did. I got away from that because my mates at the time weren't healthy for me.
Mm.
That was the first thing. I just needed to separate myself from those people. So even though I became isolated, for me, that's what I needed to do to then create a new community.
And I think that's something that so many people out there can relate to. And there was this great reel that I listened to the other day on socials, and it was about the fact that don't think of a relationship as over, think about it as complete.
Yep.
And I think that was such a great way of thinking about relationships, because we get cut up thinking, no, we don't want to end this friendship. We don't want it to be over. They've played such a big role in my life, like they're lifelong mates. But if you think about it as complete and it's run its course, and that's not a bad thing, it's now just time for a new direction.
Something else.
Yeah, it's time for a new pathway. It's time for you to change the direction you're going in. They might do the same down the track in their own lives.
Yep.
But at the moment, you're bad for each other.
Yep.
And you got to make that call. And I think sometimes we fall into the trap of just hanging out with the same people because we feel like we have to.
And this is all I've got.
They're the people I've got, and that's all I've ever known.
Yeah, and that's all I'm ever going to have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So making that call, as hard as it is, to cut those relationships must have been huge.
That was one of the hardest things, because especially as a blind person, it's isolating. Like, I don't think people realise how isolating blindness is probably one of the most isolating disabilities. Like, people probably think, oh, it's more isolating to be in a wheelchair, but no, you can actually. Like, if you go into an environment, you can sit at a table. Like, we can't lip read, right? We're in the pub. As soon as it gets loud, we're done.
Yeah.
Everyone else starts lip reading. They don't realise it, but they're lip reading. We're just done. We're just sitting in the corner in silence in an echo chamber.
Yeah, it's real loud, but it's in silence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas they're still talking and they're hearing it. All the sighted people are still having a conversation. So I lose that community. I basically start building a community inside my corporate world. That's where I start building a community.
Yep. So colleagues.
Yep.
Yeah.
I build a relationship. I have a relationship with a girl. It goes on for years. That fails, but I start building myself way through the corporate ladder. But it's sort of okay. I make a few mistakes. Like I'd take on a job as a business analyst, which I thought the job was perfect for me because I'm all about creating outcomes for customers and our staff. And I thought, but then I didn't. Same as I did ancient history at school. I had a passion for it. But I didn't realise, that wasn't actually conducive with my disability because of all the reading. So I did about 9 months in this business analyst role, and I realised towards the end of it, because I thought it was going to be meetings and influencing people and creating these processes. Well, what it was a whole bunch of reading, right? So I realised that's not what I want to do. So that was one of the best lessons I learned from that, and that's something that I think people should lean into more, is when you make mistakes, that can actually be some of the best things that can escalate your life, because I learned from that 9 months all the things that I was bad at and all the things I didn't like doing. So then from that point on, I was a lot more focused around what I wanted to do in my career and where I added value. So that was all happening. I'd had multiple long-term relationships. So from 20 onwards, from that bus stop moment onwards, I'm sort of, there's moments of singleness, and there's lots of, there's lots of, I call it product market testing before I met my wife. I actually said that at my wedding, unfortunately. Yeah, I did lots of market research before I met my wife, but there was a lot of periods of long-term relationships in between that market research, but they were all failing, and it was always at the end of it like, oh, they didn't do this, and they, about the girl that I just broken up with.
The finger pointing. The problem was with them.
She was the problem. I was amazing. I should have, whatever.
I was flawless. Yes. God's gift to women.
Yeah. And I made a couple of mistakes, but not really. Bullshit. Anyway, so I'm 2008, I'm an account director. I'm running a large team, multi-million-dollar target. On paper, I've got a property in Sydney. On paper, everything looks great, right? I just bought my second property in DY on the beach, near the beach in Narrabeen. So everything was great, but I just wasn't happy. And I just had another breakup with a girl, but it was the first time in my life that I wanted to be the calm one and she wanted to party. So I'd always been the one that wanted to party and carry on, and the girls would be like, no, it's too much. I just want to chill out. And this was the first one where I was like, I want to settle down and have kids and do all that. And she was like, no, I just want to party, because she was younger and she'd just finished the law degree. And anyway, so I was like, okay, cool. So I went, and I remember I bought this property and I hadn't settled yet. So I was in that sort of 6-week settlement period.
Yep.
And we broke up. So I had to, when we were living together, so I had to move out. So I moved into my sister's apartment, and it was this dark apartment. It was just, and my sister was, climbing the corporate ladder. She was never home. She was always out working. So I just sat in this apartment. There was no one near the beach. I couldn't go surfing. And I sort of sat there feeling sorry for myself, but I was also like going, well, why does this keep going wrong? Like, I just can't find the right girl. And I really wanted to get married. That was sort of my goal at the time. That was I really wanted to find a life partner and have kids. So, and I'm sort of 30 years old at this point, and I'm outside putting the washing out. And every time I go outside to hang out some washing or something, there was this bloke there. He was about 60, and he was living with his mum. His mum's sort of in her 80s, in a small apartment, right? And he'd always go, oh, I used to have this job, and because he sort of knew what I did for work, and he'd go, I used to have this job, I used to do this, and used to do that, and I had this relationship with this person, and used to. It's the world's fault. I could have been doing this, but everyone else's fault. This, and this. Yeah. And I went back inside, and I was like, what a fucking loser in my head, right? and then
you're thinking, hang on a minute.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm the 30-year-old version of him.
That's me.
We're literally right next door.
That's me in 30 years unless I change something. I'm going to be single, no kids, living with my 80-year-old mum.
And blaming the world.
Unless I take ownership of it. And as a blind person, the world makes excuses. It's even harder because the world makes excuses for, oh, it's okay, you don't have to do that because you can't see. It's harder for you to do that because your systems don't work. And you need accessibility. You don't need to do that, mate. It's okay. It's like, so I realised, no, actually, I need to set my standards higher than everyone else, not lower. And I need to, so I walk back into this room and I go, oh, what a fucking loser. Like, oh my God, that could be me. I'm like, who is this girl that I want to meet? Because I'd never actually done it. And at work, everything for me was strategy, execution, planning, resourcing, budgets, all these things, right? And then in my personal life, I was just doing.
You were just winging it.
It was on autopilot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, no. Let's build this thing. So I basically, there was a piece of paper and a notepad, and I can't see it, but I just wrote down what are the things I want in this girl, this dream girl, and I wrote basically there was 12 things, and I wrote them on this piece of paper, or this couple of pieces of paper, and I got through about half of it, and there was just the biggest, almost a crack in my brain, and it was just like, fuck, I'm not half these things.
So you're wanting these things in somebody else to fill a void in yourself.
Well, no, it wasn't to fill a void in myself. I was just expecting them to be those things because they're the things that I want.
But you weren't being them yourself.
Yeah, so how can I expect them to be them?
Yeah, and it's like what we were talking about over lunch with the do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Mentality that sometimes parents have. Well, I can say that because I'm an adult. It's like, well, I want you to be this, this, and this in a relationship, but I'm not actually giving the relationship that, and that.
Yeah.
What were some of those things?
Look, being maternal, I really wanted to. I wanted someone that wanted to be a mother, because I'd had a bunch of girlfriends that just sort of weren't really into parenting. They just were like, oh, maybe one day, not really, I'm not sure. So I was like, well, that's something that's a big box tick for me. There was a bunch of things like being not being crazy, not wanting to party too much. Being reliable, and I can't remember the exact things. And there's a few things on there that I won't share, because they might not be, people might appreciate them, you know what I mean? But they were my things, so that's
that's cool. But in terms of the things that you felt like you weren't at the time, what were those things?
Well, the partying thing, like I don't want her to be a party animal, but then look at me.
Yeah.
Like seriously, have a look at yourself, mate.
Hey, pot, are you calling the kettle black here?
Yeah.
Like,
So it's all right for you to go out and get on it and come home and be useless.
But she can't be
She can't do that. She's just got to wait at home for you.
Yeah.
Wanker.
Yeah. But great self-awareness to actually, through the process of writing those things down, to then be able to read through them, or not read through them, but remember what you'd written, metaphorically speaking, not literally, and go, well, fuck, how can I expect these things from somebody else if I'm not them myself.
Yeah.
So did then it become what was the next step? My thinking would be,
So this is 2008.
do I now try and fix those things in me first?
Yep. Build it.
Yeah.
Now I build the house. So
Yeah, love that.
So then I built it for 2 years, and I went into detail. Like every day after meetings, I'd be like going, I'm big on words, and if you change a word in a sentence, it can change the whole way that is anticipated, and it can change the downflow effect of that whole
Absolutely
conversation.
can.
Right? So I'd be like, I could have changed that word in that meeting, and then I started realizing, hang on, you do a lot of talking in meetings.
Not a lot of listening.
Yeah, well, I'd be doing listening too, but I'd be doing, I'd be listening to one or two people. And I'm like, hang on, there's 4 other people in that room, and I didn't hear their perspective. So maybe it's your job as a leader to start actually actively asking those people for their opinion. And then maybe using different words. And I just beat myself up. It was hard. I'd be beating myself. It wasn't healthy, but it was healthy. If you've got the resilience and you've got the capacity to do it, like I beat myself up every night. I'd lay there going, oh, you could have done this better. You could have done that better. You could have turned up on time. So and I basically set high standards for myself. So one of the first things I did was I got a chin-up bar. At the time I was doing lots of heavy weights. I was lifting, but I would like turn up to the gym at certain times, just depended on what I was doing, and I didn't have set frameworks. So I put this chin-up bar in my doorway, and it was the first thing that I just had a non-negotiable. So I had to do, every time I walked in and out of that door, it was my bedroom door, every time I walked in and out of the door, I had to do at least 10 chin-ups.
Yeah, it's cool. Like it's not incidental exercise, so to speak.
No.
But it's not 45 minutes at the gym.
Yeah, but it was just a stand. It didn't even mean, the exercise didn't even mean, it was just this thing that I was going to deliver to myself. So we talked about this earlier, but I'm on a goal now of becoming the world leader in trust.
Yep.
And I work with senior leaders in the biggest companies in the world, with Defence Force, everything, right? So that's not some guy just saying that who I've got some credentials with that behind me. But I've just forgotten what I was saying because I was on a rant about how fucking good I am. But I'll just
I'll pick you back down because you've forgotten where you are.
Yeah.
No, you were talking about credentials, trust.
Yes. So there's the trust. So the trust thing, right? So the way I look at trust is different layers of it, and we'll go into my formula. But I've basically mapped it out into 5 pillars, and the first pillar is self-trust.
Yes. Okay.
So, because we all talk about trust as an external thing and between two parties.
Yep.
But there's actually the first thing before you can have someone else, and this is back to my thing of the list. How can you expect someone else to do it if you're not doing it? So I need to then be the trustworthy person for myself before I could expect other people to trust me.
Love that.
So doing the chin-ups, doing the 10 chin-ups every time, it was building trust in myself that I would do the thing.
You would do the thing that you said you were going to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got so good on that chin-up bar by doing that. It was wild. Like I could do 50 easy. No way I could do that right now.
Hey, back in the day, there's something to be said for back in my day.
Yeah. Anyway,
back in my heyday.
Well, but it's go back to our resilience thing as well. Like you use it or lose it. So I don't use it anymore, and the skill's gone. I've still got a chin-up bar in my office, and I do a fair bit anyway. But that was just one of the things that I'd start turning up to work earlier because I'd just turn up just in time for meetings with my coffee, and then I was like, actually, if I get to work better, I'm more prepared. I'm removing a lot of variables, so I started then I started setting my calendar that I would get there at least 20 minutes before my first meeting. I would schedule time between meetings for time to be mindful, and I just started structurally building all these things into my life to set myself up for success.
Yeah,
and being more conscious about all of that.
Love it.
Yeah, so I did that for 2 years, and then guess what happened in 2010?
Love at first sight.
Well, it wasn't just love at first sight. So I did the ride to Melbourne in 2009, which I think we talked about.
I think we talked about lunch. We haven't talked about it on here.
Okay.
So ride to Melbourne.
So towards the end of 2000, so I'm in this self-development, fix myself up, get myself ready for this
Building
person.
the self-trust.
Building the bloke that is worthy of the chick.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah. Building up your resume.
Yes.
So that it can meet your expectations and criteria for her.
Correct.
We don't know this woman's out there yet.
No. all that she's going to accept all I'm doing. Yeah. So anyway, I'm on the bus on the way to work, and there's a guy on the back of the work works in the marketing team, and he's and just standard question you ask people, like, what are you up to? Like, you got any holidays coming up? And he goes, yeah, I'm gonna take some time off. I'm gonna ride, and we're working in our Sydney office at this time. I'm gonna ride down to Melbourne on a push bike. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I didn't own a push bike at this time. Physically didn't own a push bike. Hadn't ridden a bike in probably a year or two. I was like, I'll come with you. Now, you can imagine I'm the guy at work that runs into things. You know, I can't find meeting rooms. I'm wandering around. I've got this massive screen with enlarged letters on it.
I was going
My
to say,
phone
this is
talks to
still
me.
pre-40. You're not using a cane, but everyone knows that you can't see great.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep. My phone talks to me. Actually, my phone wouldn't have talked to me though because that was pre-voiceover. But it would, the large screen, my computer talks to me, all that sort of stuff. So he goes from going, I'm going to ride to Melbourne. He goes, oh, I'm not sure I'm going yet. I haven't really made a decision. And he starts backpedaling.
No, mate, we're going.
So I'm in this phase where I need to do something, right? Like I'm building myself and I need to do something that's going to challenge me. So by 10 a.m. that morning, I didn't even know how far you could ride on a pushy. So I had to Google what's a distance, reasonable distance for someone who's reasonably fit to ride in one day on a road bike. Turns out it's about 120 Ks. So I then map. I've never done any of these things. I map all the towns.
This is the definition of winging it. It's like, hey, there's an
100%.
idea.
Yeah.
Let's go.
100%.
Let's work it out on the fly.
Yeah. So I map out 120 Ks towns all the way along the coast to Melbourne.
Yeah, okay. So you're not thinking down the Hume. You go around the coast.
Around the coast.
Yep.
Because I'm a surfer, right? We don't go through the middle. We stay on the ocean.
You need that sea breeze.
We stay on the ocean. So anyway, I send him a bit, and I basically go, this, and we're going to raise money. This is going to be the charity we're going to raise money for. This is our budget, and I send him the whole business case by 10 a.m. in the morning.
He would have been thinking, why the fuck did I mention this to this guy at the water cooler this morning? Like he's backpedaling out of this idea, just going.
He wishes he got the earlier or the later bus that day. Yeah. But it was at Scotty. We ended up doing it, and to this day, it's still the
Just you and him?
Just me, just two of us on
Yep.
single bikes, no tandem.
Were you following him?
So we started that way, but I kept running into the back of him because if he braked or slowed down, I couldn't see him. So he ended up being behind me, and then I'd use. Do you use echolocation?
No.
Yeah, so I use echolocation quite a bit.
Yep.
So I'd use echolocation to sort of work out where I was.
As in through clicking your tongue?
No, through the sound of trucks and other noises that were bouncing around. So I'd hear the sound of the truck riding down there, and it would bounce noises off the trees and things around me.
Yeah, yep.
And the wheel noise as well. So as cars went past me, I'd hear them coming, and then they'd go past me, and that sound off the wheels would bounce off trees and fences and things like that, in the gutter even.
Yep.
And then I could sort of see the line right at my front wheel.
Right. Yeah.
So
okay.
I just keep my front wheel like 3 or 4 inches to the left-hand side of the line, right? So I'm not looking up. I'm not looking into the future like a normal cyclist would. I'm looking at the ground, and I'm just keeping my wheel 3 inches from that line. And then I'm using echolocation as well to work out what's going on. And then Scotty's behind me. So if an intersection's coming or whatever, he'll yell out and tell me. Or if there's like a stick on the road or something else. But there was so many times where like I was like, what? And then we're doing 40 Ks an hour. And then I'm going over a median strip. And we got like pannier bags because we didn't have any support vehicles.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah. I'm not just like all the motorbike riding and all the pushy riding I'd done as a kid, it all came like bike handling skills. So anyway, we do this ride. I end up falling off. One of the days was raining. I'm getting real tired. I've been on the front the whole ride. It's a lot harder on the front than it is second wheel because you've got the second wheel gets like a draft, so you get sucked along.
Yeah.
So you essentially save 30%. It's a lot. So
But you also kept running out the back of him if you were there. So
so I never did that. But
Yeah.
then this one day, I was getting slower and I was tired. It was, we were about 1,000 Ks in at this point. And he goes, I'll go on the front for a bit. And it was wet. And he went on the front and literally within 20 minutes, I'm on the deck. Opened my knee up, bent my handlebars. We ended up in the hospital. It's 12 stitches in my knee. Anyway, I'd finish it. Yeah. And so much pain.
you finished?
Yeah, I refused painkillers because I wanted to be able to feel it so I didn't rip the stitches out. So that night was crazy amount of pain because of the bruising because I'd hit the ground. What happened is I hit the ground and it's hit my shin with my knee flexed and it's pulled the skin down. And so it wasn't actually the bottom of my patella that got where the laceration was. That was all gravel rash. The top of my patella has sheared through my skin.
Yeah, okay.
So 12 stitches.
Yeah.
To put it back together. And then we ride. So anyway, long story short, we end up in Federation Square. Still, I believe it's still the world record for the longest distance travelled by a blind person on a single bike.
Well, I definitely haven't. I definitely haven't surpassed it, mate. So I'm not gonna challenge on that one.
Yeah. But we made some money. It was my first time. You know, I run sustainability for a large corporate now, and I sort of do a lot of work in fundraising. But it was the first sort of glimpse I had into how hard that work is, because it was the first time I was on national TV. I was on this is pre-Netflix or anything, so when people actually used to watch TV.
Yeah, free to air stuff.
Yep. So I was on it's 6 p.m. news on Sunday, right? So primetime TV with the weatherman. We roll into Federation Square, the weatherman. They put up our fundraiser on the screen. So it's going out to, you know, millions of people. How much money do you reckon we got donated?
I'm going to say...
But at that point, we'd raised about 16 grand for the ride,
Prime...
which was being like people chucking money in a hat as we were going through towns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are we suggesting...
Prime time, 6 p.m.
Yeah, but I'm
Links on the screen.
I'm feeling like it's going to be a whole lot less than people are thinking.
Okay, well, just give me a number.
I'm going to say $4,000.
$8.
$8.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I'll pull my wallet out now. I'll give you more than $8.
One person donated to the link.
Fuck.
Fundraising is a hard game.
I was tossing up between $3,500 and $4,000. But you're right. Fundraising is a hard game. I probably didn't think it was that hard.
Yes.
You'd think national television, you might go all right. But
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
I digress. But it's an interesting.
Well, you add it to the total.
It's an interesting fact.
But it's amazing the difference between like you say, the rattle the tin in each town, 16 grand, and then
personal connection, right? There's personal connection. There's a disconnect on national television.
Yeah, the person gets to meet you, shake your hand, see what you're doing in real life.
They get to hear the story. But you know, you get a 15-second story of the ride, and with a little tiny bit of they're raising money for this foundation at the end. What's the cause? Why am I doing it? Right. So you need to pull the heartstrings to raise money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got there.
So I got there. Through that, I got picked up, noticed by Cycling Australia. Had a conversation with a bloke. At this point, I'm still got the chick pulling. I've been probably best shape of my life, like 94 kilos, pretty ripped. Pub fighting, chick body, but I haven't been in a fight for years at this point. I've sorted myself out. Hadn't had a conflict with anyone. Hadn't really had an argument with anyone for a long time. Just disagreements and, you know, conversations at work, but nothing that anyone would call I would call an argument. Apart from obviously the breakups with the different girlfriends.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good, and this guy's I have this meeting with one of the head coaches from Cycling Australia. You know, they'd heard about me that I could ride up hills faster than all the sighted people, but then I'd have to go slow down on the downhill. He said we'd like you to ride on a tandem, and I would never have done that. Like when I was 20 years old, if you said to me you should ride on a tandem, go to the Paralympics, I probably would have punched you.
Yeah. Don't tell me how to do this.
Well, also I'm not disabled.
Yeah.
Don't stick me on a tandem. I'm not a disabled person. I can ride by myself.
Yep.
Yeah. By that point, I've sort of just started to accept who I am, stripes and all, and actually starting to be proud of the fact that I achieved what I had with my disability. So I started to own, you know, just the person that I am with stripes and all. So
starting to see it as something you don't have to be embarrassed about or hide or shy away from.
Yep.
And it's just a part of who you are.
Yes.
And it's actually pretty cool that you can do some things despite it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nuanced, but yeah, that's something like that. But he basically says, you know, we have this meeting and I said, right, I want to be a world champion. I want to be a world record holder. I'm going to be the best in the world at this sport. And he's like, whoa.
Hold up there, cowboy.
You've never ridden on a tandem, mate. So how about we just get you on a tandem first? You can do a race. Then you can work towards getting to nationals. Then you can potentially win a national title. Then you can get selected to ride for Australia. And then you might have an opportunity to win a world title and go to the Paralympics. I was like, yeah, whatever, mate. Just what do I got to do? I'm going to be the best in the world at this thing. And he's without, you know, and I didn't, it wasn't ego. It was just like this, I'm going to do it. And I said, mate, I'm a robot. You just give me the programming and my body will do what you tell it to. Anyway, he goes, mate, well, yeah, it's like, you know, those arms are nice, but they're not going to do anything for a bike. We're going to have to make a lot of physical changes. And
we're going to have to get those legs looking like those arms.
Yeah. So, mate, I was 94 kilos. I dropped down. So, I did the work, but essentially, so that year, so 2000, I got selected. So, that was 2009, end of 2009. By the end of 2010, I'd been selected to ride for Australia. 2011, I did my first. So, in 2010, I met my wife. I moved into my second property. I got my first executive job. the whole world opened up for me in 2010, which sounds like a very lucky year.
Yeah.
There's fucking no luck involved in that.
Hard work.
No luck. All work, mate.
All work. Planning.
Strategy.
A list.
Strategy, thoughtfulness, lack of bad decisions, all turned up with a lot of positive things in my life.
Well, you sound like the type of bloke that dots all of the I's twice and crosses the T's 3 times.
So one of the...
by this point in time in your life.
By this point in time, I saw there's my book, Why Not, which we're going to come to, there's basically a frame. There's 8, I'll call them the 8 hard standards. That's the framework in the book, is the 8 hard standards. And the first hard standard is 2 gears, 1 engine. And that comes from my parents. So my mum is she's 75 now, or she's 77, but she still you still have to walk to keep up with her. She was a hairdresser, on her feet all day. Then she'd finish that. She'd be helping me with assignments, making lunches. She just worked. She's been the hardest working person I've ever met my whole life. Doesn't stop ever.
Yeah, right.
And then my dad is this, and she just go. Just you can't keep up with her. And then my dad is, he's a measure 14 times cut once guy. All about strategy. Get the plan right, and when you get the plan right, then you execute, and when you do that, you do it right. So I learnt from both of them these 2 skills, but I also saw in both of them that Dad would sometimes get stuck too much in strategy mode and not execute, and Mum would sometimes make mistakes because she'd be just too quick to jump into something and not think about the strategy. So I've just lost the mic. There it is.
It happens sometimes, mate.
Yeah, I headbutted it before. Now, yeah. But yeah, so it's a skill to be able to not get stuck in either gear, right? You need both those. You need the engine, you need the 2 gears, and the 1 engine. The 1 engine is the why not, and then you basically you choose which gear you're in. You don't accidentally land in strategy or accidentally land in execution. You always consciously know whether you're in strategy or execution mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nah, that's cool.
That's a skill that I've got very good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are these frameworks that you've sort of looked back at the way in which you've done things and then unpacked and understood and worked out, well, why did I do that way and why did that not work, and then you build that off the back of it? Yeah, look,
it's a combination of 2 things. It's one, going back and going, well, telling stories and understanding how I did. It's like people say, how do you surf when you're blind? And I'd be like, I don't fucking know, I just do it.
Yeah.
But then now I'm a keynote speaker, I've had to work out how. So I now can explain to people how I surf and how I feel waves and stuff, right? I think all these frameworks are the same. I don't know how. Most of the things that I've built in my life, I didn't know how, but now that I've written a book about it, I've unpacked it, I understand what it is. The other part is I don't do this much anymore, but I've done a fair bit of executive coaching, like coaching senior leaders. And when I first started coaching, I would go straight into people would go, I want to do this, this, and this, and I go, this is how you do it. This is the way you do it. This is how I've done it.
If you want to do that, I did that when I was your age, and this is the way it works.
Well, most of these guys were older than me, right?
Yeah.
But I would be like, this is how I would do it. This is how you do it. And then as a coach, as I started evolving, I realized that actually asking questions is a better way, because a lot of the times they've actually got a better answer than you do, and it's more to our point earlier around accessibility. It's actually tailored to them. So I realized that the most powerful skill that a coach has is asking questions. So now my coaching method, I don't do pretty much any talking. I just ask questions and get people to answer the question, to find the solution themselves, because it's inside them. They just need someone to give them the permission to find it. And so through that framework as well, it helped me build these standards.
Love everything about that. Like, as in, rather than telling people how to do it, asking the questions to help them work it out for themselves. Like, you sound like you're the type of bloke. I definitely was the type of bloke growing up that you learn things the hard way.
Yes.
And you've got especially blokes, you learn by seeing it done and then trying to do it and then doing it.
Yes.
No, it's not, hey, let me do it for you.
Yes.
And watch how I do it and then go and do it. It's you actually learn by doing it yourself.
Yeah. And you learn your specific way.
Yeah.
What works for you. Do you know what I mean? And when you're talking about the stuff that I've coached people for, they're doing very complex things that maybe no one else in the world's ever done. And they're managing multiple teams. There's lots of things involved. There's emotions involved. There's finances involved. And I can't take all those nuances in, but if I can ask them the right questions, they will be able to unpack it in a way that works best for them and their business.
Yeah, you can't be an expert in every area, every industry.
No.
and for every person's role, but you can ask the questions because those answers are inside of them.
So that's my book. You'll see at the end of every chapter there's a question for the reader. So a lot of people leave it this, like the end of it. They'll leave it like this framework. So everything's linked back to like Navy SEALs or SAS or McKinsey or Harvard or some sort of evidence to show that my framework has been done in other places. But then it finishes with a question, so the reader can actually think through how that looks in their life.
Cool. Can you give us? Now let's leave that. We're going to come to the book at the end.
Okay.
Because I'd love to hear maybe some of what those questions are.
Okay.
Because I think that'd be a cool way to finish. Because I'll finish with some quick fire questions for you.
Yep.
But I think it'll be then cool to hear some of those questions for us as listeners to sort of reflect on as we finish up.
Yep.
So, mate, 2010, like you said, it wasn't a lucky year. It was a year that hard work started to pay off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've met your wife, Rebecca, and then
biggest payoff of my whole life.
Yeah,
it will be the biggest. Yeah,
a lot of planning went into that. A lot of character building went into that.
Yep.
You've built that self trust, and then we're starting to get also at a similar time into this cycling. On this path or on this journey to chase this goal of being the best in the world.
Yeah.
Talk us through it.
So we've gone through self-trust. I've built that self-trust that I'm going to turn up and do what I say I'm going to do. Now I'm moving into my team trust framework. So the team trust is obviously with my wife, with Bexy. And then I'm riding originally with a guy called Phil Talks who had just finished riding in so the guys on the front of the bike. So I'm on the back. Obviously I can't see. So the guys on the front.
Well, they didn't put you in charge of steering?
No, mate. Do you know how many times I get asked at keynotes who it was on the front or the back?
Surely not.
100%. And then people still, I don't even talk about it anymore, but I used to make a joke about it. Unfortunately, it's crazy. My cycling story, even though I've been one of the most accomplished cyclists in Australia, it doesn't even really get mentioned in my keynotes anymore because it's sort of been overshadowed by my surfing and my freediving. But Phil basically, I get asked that, but it's ridiculous. Anyway, but Phil's on the front.
Phil can see.
Phil can see. He changes gears. He does braking. He does everything, right? So he would say. Anyway, we ride for a bit. He just finished.
Does he pedal?
He pedals.
Yep.
So at the Paralympics, we call them a pilot. So they're the pilot on the front. I'm the stoker on the back. They're the pilots in the tandem bikes are like the only people. There might be some different now, but it used to be that they were the only able-bodied people at the Paralympics that get a gold medal if they win because they contribute to the effort. So other guides will guide people and do things that help them, but then they're like a running guide, for example, they're not pulling, they're just guiding.
Yeah.
Whereas in the cycling,
the runner is dictating the speed. If the runner slows down,
yes, the guide has to slow down.
Yes.
Yeah. And they can't ever pull them or do anything. They're on a loose. They're on a
loose tether.
A tether.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they contribute to the effort, right? And so I eventually end up coming 18th at 2011 World Championships. Realise at this point I've got ego, like I'm going to go in and smash all these guys. You know,
they'd want to watch out.
Yeah. Oh, they're done. Like I'm just going to turn up and clean the place out. I turn up. I come 18th. Basically, out of a field of about 30 bikes, I'm third best in Australia at this point. I'd just come third at nationals in both the road race and the time trial. The two guys that were both gold and silver medalists at the last Paralympics, so even though I was third, they were very high level. Anyway, we finished. I'm cooked. By the time we finished this race, it's 120 k's. I'm done. There's no way I could have, even if I was at the front of the race, I wouldn't have been able to sprint.
Yep.
So anyway, it shows me what the level is. I go back and do the work. Phil retires. He's done. He has his first child. He's been riding. Before he started riding for me, he'd just been riding for Drapac in Europe on a pro team. So we'd been racing a lot against single bikes, like the club racing and like A grade like level club racing in Australia. But there's one guy we never beat by the name of Mick Curran. If you can't beat him, join him. So I rang Mick when Phil retired and said, mate, do you want to come and jump on the front of the tandem with me? And I was just about to go to nationals in 2012. And Phil just retired and he goes, oh, mate, I've just retired. He'd just come back from a pro team in Holland. He's like, mate, I've just told my wife I'm retiring. I'm not going to ride. Like, I can't commit to that. He goes, but I'll come and do nationals with you. We'll see how we go and then we'll find you someone else. So Mick does nationals with me. We absolutely torch everybody, win 2 Australian titles. And then me and him he would basically come home. He speaks to his wife. I'm saying we're locking in. And then me and him just torch the world for about 6 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he was planning on retiring,
Yes.
but Mick's plan of retiring
Yeah.
wasn't your plan of Mick retiring.
Well, it was just one of those things. It all happened for the right reasons. Like and we lived in the same suburb. It's crazy. Like,
so training works. You obviously clicked.
He turned up. So talk about commitment and trust. We trained every day at 4:30, 6 days a week, every week.
That's huge.
He would be at my house at 4:30. So he'd jump on the tandem at his house right around the corner. He'd get all the jokes about, mate, I think you've lost someone and all that, because he'd be on the tandem with no one on the back. But yeah, we just thinking back about it now, like the level of commitment to get up at that. So I'd have to be up at 4:10 every morning to prepare to get my gear on. He's up early as well to get ready to ride around. And then we'd go out and most days we'd do 100 Ks, 120 Ks in the beginning of a block.
Yeah.
And then getting closer to, we do like 12-week blocks. And then getting closer to the end of a training block when we're just about to do a big race. We're doing like 60 Ks a day, which is our low effort, but then we're doing weights as well. So I'm doing, somewhere between 60 and 120 Ks every day, then weights in the middle of the day, and then probably ergo in the afternoon, getting closer to a race, which is like on a stationary bike. I'm running a sales team. So I'm finishing up training. I'm going to work. I'm managing a team, doing sales, running a number with, with accountability. And then in the middle of all this, me and Bexy get married and then we have children. So there's a lot going on, lots of hats that I'm wearing, but I'm getting very good through these frameworks. I'm getting very good at all of it, and it's not, it's not breaking. Like I've got a happy marriage, I've got kids, world titles, all these things. So that's sort of the beginning of it. 2013, I get married to me and Bexy get married. Not long after that, Mick and I won our first World Cup in Canada. At the end of 2013 in a place called Matane in Canada. And by that point, so I'm 94 kilos when I have this conversation with Tom, right, the cycling coach. And he says, yeah, they're nice arms, but we're going to have to make some physical changes, a lot of work that needs to be done, right?
Yep.
How heavy do you reckon I am when I win this World Cup?
Not being a cyclist, I'm going to guess 80.
73 kilos. I dropped over 20 kilos of muscle.
And plus, you would have put on a heap of muscle in the legs.
No, not put muscle on, just put strength on.
Yeah, okay.
So
was it long distance riding?
It was endurance cycling, yeah. So it was 100 that race we won.
So you're not in the velodrome, you're out on track and road?
The velodrome became where I ended up setting world records.
Yeah, okay.
But at this point, I'm on the road. So that race was 120 Ks.
Yes, yep.
And then the following year, long story short, we were doing road. We go to the track for a few different reasons, but we basically did the fastest time in the world on the track. I'll say by accident. We did a bit of training, but it wasn't our focus. But we did it the fastest time in the world at Australian Nationals down here in Melbourne at the end of 2013 after we'd won that World Cup.
And when you say on the track, that's the velodrome.
The velodrome, yep. So we did the first for the 4 kilometre pursuit. So it's 4 Ks out of the gate. You're standing start. You do 4 Ks. And so I think we did like 4 minutes 19 or something. And that was the fastest time for that year. It wasn't an Olympic. It was just the year. It was like 2013. So it was just the year after an Olympic year. You don't normally get world records because everyone's cooked themselves. They're having a bit of a break. So we did this time anyway. So we're the fastest in the world. So the coaches will go, you need to go and focus on this 4K pursuit thing. Have a crack at that because there's less variables. Every road race is a different course, different length, different hills.
Velodrome's consistent.
Velodrome's 250 metres everywhere in the world. 16 laps is 4Ks. The shapes are different, actually, but it's pretty consistent. So, and like I could go down a whole different track of engineering and whatever because I'm a details guy at sometimes, and other times I'm just high-level strategy. But in the cycling, I got right into the detail. But some shapes work for us better than others, even though they're all sort of ovals. Some of them have got tighter bends and longer straights, and some have got shorter straights and longer bends, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, so me and Mick go, cool. So we go all in on the 4K pursuit. We turn up to World Championships in Aguascalientes in Mexico in 2014, and we train to live and breathe to train to do 4 minutes and 16 seconds. That was the world record at the time. It was 4 minutes 16.4 or something. So we figured if we can do 4:16, we weren't trying to break the world record at this point. We're just trying to qualify fastest because we reckon if we can do close to the world record time, that qualifies as fastest. So the way it works is you might have 25 bikes turn up for world championships. Everyone does a qualifier in the morning. So 2 bikes at a time. They're on the track. And you just get a qualifying time as you do 4Ks, your effort. The faster 2 times race in the afternoon for gold and silver. And 3rd and 4th race for bronze. Everyone else goes home. Thanks for coming. You weren't good enough. Sorry. That's
That
it.
quick.
That's it. You get one go at it.
One lot of qualifying.
Yeah. But you can't do – you take that much out of your body. It's that hard. You can't even ever do it in training because it's that hard. Your body actually builds like an allergy to it. Your body won't do it. Your body just goes, no, I'm not doing that. I know what that's like. So you build all the components. Like you'll do a 3K effort. You do your start. You might do like a 4K but a flying start, so you don't include the start. So you do all the elements, but you never do a 4K pursuit apart from at World Championships or at Nationals or some sort of big race. Because your body, as soon as you do it, your body won't do it again for a long time.
But are you doing it twice in a day?
Yes.
Okay.
But the first time you're doing it to qualify to be a world champion, and the second time you're doing it to become world champion. So your body will suck that up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your body's not going to suck it up if you then try and do it again 3 weeks later to win a regional title. Your body's just going, I don't care.
Mindset's completely different.
100%. You're not doing that.
Yeah. The higher the stakes, the more you'll be able to pull out of yourself.
You can go deeper.
Yep.
So we turn up. 4 minutes 16 is the world record. We're going to do 4:16 or close to it. We've been training and living and breathing and doing our splits. So we talk about splits as how many seconds per lap.
Yep.
To be able to add up to your 4 minutes 16 over the 16 laps. In the first heat, so it's at altitude. It's about 2,000 meters above sea level. There's a variable of that is there's less oxygen, so you travel faster. You've got lower aerodynamic coefficient, so there's less drag basically. But you also have less oxygen, which is pretty important when you're an endurance athlete because you have to breathe.
Mm.
So we turn up. So no one's sure how that's going to happen because tandems had never raced at altitude before, and sprint cyclists had gone faster, but endurance athletes had normally gone slower because it's cumulative over time that they run out of air and they don't get that benefit from the reduced drag.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you.
And we're endurance athletes, but we're on a tandem, so we're not sure how it's going to because there's never been a tandems race at altitude. Now, the world record what I'm talking about is an able-bodied world record. It was set by para athletes, but tandems were raced at the Olympics, the able-bodied Olympics, not too long ago. So a lot of the records were set by able-bodied guys.
Yeah.
So anyway, we turn up in the first heat. The Spanish go out and do 4 minutes. So the world record's 4:16. They do 4:12.
So that world record has just been blown out of the water.
In sport, in elite sport, you get broken. World records get broken by 0.2s or 0.3s.
Yeah.
4 seconds.
And they rode before your heat?
They were the first heat. We were the top seed because we'd done the fastest time in the world the year before. We were the top seed, so we got to go last because you get to see everyone else's time.
Yep.
So
they're the first ones.
They're
out.
the first heat.
And you go,
So everyone else goes, fuck, and the helmet's getting thrown. I can't see any of this, but people are telling me. So Mick starts telling me, he's sitting next to me, he goes, fuck, this is what's happened. They've done that. And I hear a bit of nerves in his voice, but he just goes, we literally looked at each, and other people are dejected. They're all going, well, that's done. Like, no one else is going to do that. That's out the window now. It's not possible. Mick and I look at each other, and you're talking about 2 Aussie mongrels, like just mongreled out Aussie blokes.
yeah.
And we just look at each other and go, 4:11.
Yeah, if they can do 4:12, let's do 4:11.
Yeah. We just said 4:11. We literally said 4:11 together at the same time. Sounds like something scripted for a movie. We literally at the same time said 4:11, and just smiled. And we had this gear made once again down here in Melbourne, an engineering company down in Melbourne, which was a 58 tooth gear. It's as big as a dinner plate. It's huge titanium gear, and we'd had it made because we thought one day we might be big enough and strong enough to push it, but we'd never put it on our bike. Never even used it in training. No one had ever used a gear that big ever on single bikes, tandems, nothing. In endurance cycling ever at World Championships. And we told our coach, we're doing 4:11 and we're going to put this gear on because we needed a bigger gear because it's a fixed gear on the track, right? You can't change gears. And to go that speed, we needed a bigger gear. So we said to our coach, we're going to put this gear on. It's the same guy that said their nice arms are going to have to make lots of changes. So at this point, he's my coach. So he's like, he's going to be lots of changes. So he goes, basically, boys, you can't do it. We said, we're going to do a 411. He goes, no, that's not possible. You haven't trained for that. That's 5 seconds faster than you've ever even trained for. Like, no, we're doing it. We're either here to win or go home. Like, we're not here to come 5th. Let's do it. So our bike mechanic puts this 58 tooth gear on the bike.
And is that legal?
Yeah.
So you can have whatever size gear you want on your bike?
If you can push it, yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
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 So the trade off is it's harder to get out of the gate. Once you get it moving, you've got more strength to push on. So you can have lower cadence, so lower revolutions.
Yeah, so it was going to be a slower start, but then hopefully make up in the back end.
But then also, if it's too hard in the back end, you can't hold it and you'll slow down. So you need to have a gear that's in that range where you can come out of the gate at a decent speed and then hold a cruising speed, but also be able to maintain that. And then if you're spinning more, it's actually more drain on the cardiovascular system and your neural system. So then you'll therefore slow down because you can't keep spinning at that speed. So there's all these calculations that go into it. But anyway, we basically go, if we put this gear on, we'll be able to do 411 if we hold a cadence of about 112, which was fine for us. So about 112 revolutions per minute. It's crazy neural fatigue. Like the amount your nerves firing that speed is crazy. Then you got the cardiovascular drain. Then you got the physical drain as well, the strength. So anyway, we put it on. We come out of the gate. The TV broadcaster, like going, Australia's gears TV, they can't push this gear. We start rolling down into the middle of the velodrome. We can't get it moving because we've never even ridden this thing in training. We're at World Championships.
What is happening inside your head at this point in time when you can't even get it moving?
Nothing apart from just ride. Like I'm just in robot mode of like.
But like, is this the start? So the gates have gone.
The gates
down.
have gone. So it goes beep. So if you talk about pressure, people go, oh, so much pressure. Had to turn up on this time. Our beep goes at 20 seconds, and the whole crowd starts going crazy. The thousands of people making noise, and your heart rate's going boom. It's trying to elevate. If you let your heart rate go up, you'd lose because you have to keep your heart rate down to allow capacity for it to come up through your effort.
And this is standing start.
Standing start.
Yeah.
And so you're going, okay, so 20 seconds and it does another beep at 10 seconds, adrenaline, bang. You get another little shot of adrenaline, heart rate boosts again. And then at 5 seconds, it goes beep, beep. Every second there's a beep until it gets to 0. Beep, beep. And then it does a beep, like a high pitch beep, which is just, whatever. I can't do that.
That was a little bit too high.
That was a little too high. Yeah. Anyway, it does the high pitch beep. And as that happens, there's a digital caliper that's holding your wheel. It's clamped on. You cannot move. There's no way you can come out of the gate. You can't do a full start because it won't let you go.
Are you able to push against it?
You can hold force against it, but it won't move and it won't release you. So what you want to do is at about on the 2 second mark, you push forward, you lean forward over the bars, and then at the 1 second mark, you lean back and you push yourself way back past the saddle. And then as you hear the 0, you push through and you come over the top of the saddle. So as it releases your tyre, you're generating momentum forwards. Your body weight's throwing the bike out of the gate, and that gives you a little start that will help you get on top of the gear. But there's 2 of us on the bike that have to do the same synchronization thing, so we don't get in each other's way, but we also generate for forward momentum. So if we go too early, we'll use the momentum and the gear will hold us there, and we've used all that momentum when we're not moving. Or if we go too late, the bike that we can't push against the gate because the gates let us go.
Yeah, this is we're talking a game of milliseconds here.
Yeah, and if any of that's wrong, you're done.
Yeah.
Right. So
is there another bike in this heat as well?
Yes,
at a time?
on the other side of the velodrome. Yep.
Right. So they're 2 halves. You're not out the gates next to them.
No. They're on the other side. So you're both
cool.
halfway down the straight on either side of the velodrome.
Yep, I'm with you.
And it just so happens the other bike they're the second top seed in the world. We ended up having so many different races against these guys, but anyway, so we come out of the gate. They're like, Australia can't catch this gear. We finally get on top of it. We get rolling, we get through the corner, and we sit in the saddle, and then we get on top of it, we start moving, we get back into our routine. At about the 3.5 kilometre mark, everything's hurting. Like it's awful.
Did you feel as if that first, 250 metres for a lap, that first sort of 50 to 100 metres, you'd gone slower than you wanted to?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's no other way about that.
Yeah, but you knew that was going to be the case and hopefully make up for it. Did you feel like you were making...
You don't know.
No.
You don't know. all you can do is just do your best, right?
So you don't know your splits as you're going.
I know my splits sort of. Like Tom, our coach, is holding up an iPad with our splits so Mick can see them.
Yep.
But he yells out the splits, but I can only sort of get them. He yells them out for me, but I can sort of. There's you've got thousands of people in the crowd screaming. We're doing 65, 68 k's an hour averaging.
Yep.
So
And kind of concentrating as well.
with my heart rate blowing out through my ears. My heart rate's like 180.
Yeah.
So there's a bit going on. Anyway, so we get through about the 3.5 k. I'll get to about 3 k's, and I can feel mixed up veering off the line. So I know we're lapping the other team because we have to go because otherwise we just hold the lines because there's ways that we come in and I actually rode the track slightly different to him the way my power profile was. I would ride down the beginning of the straight. I would turn off for the back end of the straight, and then let my legs have a little rest. And then as we bent into the beginning of the straight, I would kick in. So I'm more of a power beast than he is. He's more of an endurance. So he would hold power the whole time for the whole effort for 4Ks. I'd be on and off through different parts of the track.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I'd kick us out of. I'd come on at the beginning of the bend, and then I'd kick us on, and then I'd go through to halfway down the straight, and then I'd turn off for just that little 20 meters.
Split second.
And that 20 meters off would be enough for my ATP to build up, so I could go again. So anyway, this is all happening. So we go around these guys. We come around them at about 3.5 k mark. We go over the line. The whole stadium goes mental.
When you pass them.
No, when we finish.
When you finish.
When we finish.
Yeah.
But I'm blind. I can't see the time. And I've grown up in a place, we talked about cyclists before driving around with the boys. There was one morning when I was, we were on the way to footy, and then we went past this cyclist, and I was like, oh, she's got pretty hot legs. And the boys just lost it. It was a bloke. So from that experience and a bunch of other experiences, I don't bluff things because I'm going to get caught out. And the blind guy it's not good for blind guys bluffing. So
No.
So I don't know what's going on. So I'm not going to put my hands up and claim that I've won something because I don't know if I've won or what I've done.
Yeah.
Even though the crowd's going to. So there's no break. So you got to roll to a stop, and we're cooked. We can't talk. We're nothing, right? So we're just done. We're just laying on the bike, letting our legs spin around because there's no brakes. There's a fixed gear. Finally, we roll up, and the physio that's grabbed us stopped us. It's like, oh my God, it's amazing. And I was like, what do we do? And they're like, mate, you just broke a world record. You did 4:11.213. And I was just like, fuck. So we just.
How cool is that?
It was pretty cool. So.
Mate, that is awesome.
Yeah, it was. And then we went out in the Arbo and fucking smashed them, lapped the other guys in the final and became world champions. And the biggest part to this is Maxie, my oldest son, who's 12 now. He was 6 weeks old. So I'd left my wife with our baby boy to go overseas and play sport. And there's no fucking way anyone was beating me that day.
Mate, that's a big commitment to leave that back at home.
Yeah.
Yes, to chase a dream.
You can't see, mate, but I got tears in my eyes. I've told that story that many times and it's still, yeah.
Yeah, to think about what you were leaving because you're not just leaving for an overnight trip. How long were you away for?
It was about 3.5 weeks total. So.
Mate, that's big.
So he must have been 8 weeks old actually, but yeah, he was very young. Yeah.
That's a big chunk of his life.
Yeah.
When you're talking away for nearly 4 weeks when he's 8 weeks old.
But there's so many stories that come into that, mate. Like when at 3Ks, someone's injected lava into your legs and your hip flexors and your lower back and your neck. If you move your neck, you create drag and you slow down. You have to hold your body in the same position for the whole 4Ks. So we'd go into the wind tunnel down here in Melbourne. I feel like everything I'm talking about is in Melbourne, but at the university down here, and we'd try different body positions, and they were awful. They'd hurt just to sit in them in a wind tunnel. And I'm talking about putting out power and holding it for that many long with your heart rate going through. So all of this is super hard, right? But I think about as I get to that point where it's starting to get so hard, I just want to not do it anymore. And I think about my parents and what they did for me and the sacrifices they made and the hard conversations they'd had. I think about my wife and what she's done for me and my baby boy and how I want to make him proud. And fuck, mate, there's no way I was going to stop pedaling.
No, you just keep going, don't you?
Yeah. Rip those cranks off.
Yeah, mate, I love it. Yeah. Absolutely love it. Yeah. And I think We can go in any direction. Like you said, you've got a list of achievements a mile long. I think it'd be wrong of us not to touch on the surfing.
Yes.
And we'll go there, and then I think we come back around. I'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll get to this book.
Yeah. But yeah, basically for listeners from that moment on, from 2013 to today to 2026, I've basically won a world title, broken a world record, or won a major business award every year since that year.
That's pretty good going for a bloke who was lost, for a bloke who didn't see the point to life, and who
nearly
was
ended up
on
dead or in jail.
Yeah, it was on a mission to self-destruction. To turn that around through building trust within yourself to start with. Is pretty bloody cool, mate.
Yeah,
is pretty cool.
And we touched on it before, and I think this is worth mentioning. The points where I was at my lowest, there was times where I was like, should I keep doing this? And thinking about my mate Andy that took his life, I thought about how I felt after he'd taken his life, and I didn't want to do that to the people around me. So that was one of the other reasons why I'm still here, because I thought about, if I did that thing, I thought it was I thought of it as a selfish thing, because I thought about him as being selfish when he took his life, and it's obviously he was in a place where he was so trapped that he couldn't make another decision, and I've had other mates that have done it since then. But yeah, to me it was like thinking about the people that are left behind. And I've never, obviously I'm thriving in my life now, but there was times through that period where it was so hard that I just couldn't think of any other way through it. But yeah, gone from that point to being in this point now, it doesn't even feel like it's realistic.
But that just shows to anyone out there listening who's potentially in that darker place, in that rut, like there is a way out.
Yes. And
there can be light at the end of the tunnel, and the biggest vehicle for getting you out of whatever tunnel that is, whatever rut that is yourself.
Yeah.
Like you are the biggest role player in digging your way out of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which I love. Yeah. And big wave surfing, mate. Let's get to that. And
so I get back to surfing. I have Rio. The guy sends me the text message, "You blind cunts, you can surf against each other." I go to World Championships in 2016, and after Rio, come third. That's the last time I lose an event for 5 years.
From a cycling point of view?
No, I stopped. So I retired from cycling in Rio. Mate, I'm going surfing.
Right, so...
I haven't ridden a bike since Rio.
So third in Rio cycling?
No, in surfing. So I go to World Championships in surfing. I've moved on from cycling. Cycling career.
Cycling's done.
I've won a bunch of gold medals, whatever. Move on.
Yeah.
I go to surfing, my first love. I get to
I'm back, baby. I'm back,
yeah. I'm not doing that thing that I loved winning the gold medals, but I didn't love much else about it. Like, no disrespect to anyone that loves cycling, it just wasn't my thing. It was my thing, the hurting myself, the training, the technical parts, the engineering. I designed the first ever carbon tandem fibre bike in the world. No one's ever done that before. I worked with Garmin on power pedals on the first, I did all these amazing innovations, right? It was amazing. So got to do all those things, done, move on. Never racing a bike ever again in my life because I get to surf. Go to surfing, come third at World Championship in 2017. That's the last time I lose a comp until 2022. So I win every world title, come gold, win comps all over the world, Hawaii, US, the US Open, everything. And then I basically done all that, had heaps of fun, sponsored by Billabong. I've got that dream from when I was a kid. I'm sponsored by Billabong. I've been sponsored by some of the biggest surfboard companies in the world, like Firewire, Dylan. I'm currently sponsored by JS Surfboards. Just amazing. Get paid to travel around the world surfing, and then we get to big wave surfing. So I just wanted to put that bridge in there because I think it's important. I mean, I would get overlooked and it could be cut out, but I think it's worth a 2-minute summary.
Oh, mate, for sure. Like you don't just go finish cycling one day and all of a sudden you're surfing down a 51-foot wave.
Yeah,
you've built back into standard surfing, so to speak.
Yeah,
but from a
high performance surfing.
High performance surfing.
Yeah.
At a para point of view.
Yeah.
Is it Paralympic level here?
No, it's not Paralympic.
Parasport.
It's parasport. It's not a Paralympic sport yet. Yeah.
So there's a blind category.
Yes.
Yep. And are there many blind surfers in this blind category?
There are. Yep. There's a world tour now as well. We've got 4 stops on the world tour. It used to be just 1 stop, but yeah, there's a bunch of guys. There's a few different categories now as well. So there's 2 categories to separate out the totally blind guys and guys with partial vision.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a thing. So I'm still surfing. So I just won the Japan Open Pro in end of May. At the Shizunami surf stadium and the wave pool over there. So I'm still doing. I just love surfing, mate. But yeah, the big wave surfing Had an appetite, loved surfing bigger and bigger and bigger waves. Ended up making a film called The Blind Sea, which is on Netflix. So it's basically my life story. It's not the story I've heard today. I actually haven't told this story many times. I'm starting to tell it. It's in my, obviously the full story is in my book, but I'm starting to be. I wasn't comfortable telling people the story about the bus stop and Andy, my mate, that took his life and all these things because I didn't think people wanted to hear them. I just told them the shiny stories about the world titles and the races I'd won and the business awards and all these things, right? Because I thought that's people wanted to hear, but then I realised actually, yeah, I've done all those things, but I only did those things because of the bus stop story and because of being in that dark room in Artarmon and writing a list of 12 things out that I wanted in a wife and realising that I'm not half those things. They're the things that made me the human that I am today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I shouldn't say no one gives a shit, but it's those things that make you who you are.
Yes.
And they're the things that you should look back on and be more proud about getting through.
Yes.
Rather than necessarily the list of accolades. Absolutely be proud of those as well.
Yeah.
But like they're the things that you've overcome the odds against, so to speak.
But they're the things that built the human that was capable of doing the Nazare and doing the world titles in multiple sports. Like if I grew up and didn't have the resilience, didn't get bullied at school, didn't learn that if I punched someone in the face, they would stop bullying me, didn't go off the rails in my 20s, I don't think anyone else believes that I would be the human that would actively chase 5-story building waves and actively, and have the capacity to sit in a boardroom and federal advisory committees for for federal government and hold the line on a negotiation. I would have just fractured or I would have been aggressive. Now I can be calm, make clear decisions, do hard things, but it's not that hard.
Yeah, not that hard because you continue to do them.
Because I built the capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. And tell us about Nazare, mate. How does this come about as an idea?
So,
and what is Nazare? Before meeting you, I'd never heard of it before.
yes.
Don't know where it is, what it is. Tell us all.
I'm going to get a beer if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Please do.
Um,
Sounds like this story's going to need one.
Oh, no, this is a pretty cool story. Pretty chill. Actually, I've got a good part of this story I want to say. Okay, let me crack this. So I'll start with Nazare. So Nazare is the biggest wave in the world. It's where all the world records are set. For any sighted person that's spent any time on Instagram or YouTube, you would have seen any surfing, you've seen Nazare.
Where is it?
It's in Portugal. It's a natural phenomenon. It's basically the only place in the world where there's one of the deepest canyons in the world, and it's only about 100 metres offshore. So the waves travel through this underwater canyon, and which amplifies the surface. So they basically become submarine waves, and it's like an iceberg. If you imagine an iceberg, 2/3 of the iceberg's underwater, and 1/3's on top.
Mm.
It's like the iceberg gets most waves. You only get to the top third. At Nazare, the bottom 2/3 get shoved out of the water. So the submarine wave that's coming along the canyon, it actually refracts off the inside of the canyon. It bounces back, and as it hits the beach at Nazare, it joins the surface wave so that it basically triples the size of the wave. So if it's a 15-foot day, it will become a 45-foot wave.
Yeah, right. Like this is out of this world sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's just a natural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Which is why all the world records are set there. So it's
Is it dangerous? Like, are
very-
we talking reef and rocks and all that sort of thing you hear about with surfing too?
It's very, very dangerous. So 3 weeks after I was there, someone died.
Fuck, yeah.
Dead. Yeah. So when we started making this movie, it was always going to be about big wave surf. It was going to be about my life and my career as a businessman and a cyclist and world champion surfer and all these things. But it was always going to finish with big wave surfing. And so I had a conversation with the director one day, and he's like, "Matty, what are the waves that are on the table for us for this finale scene?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm pretty much open to anything. Well, let's look. We've got to obviously build everything and look at the safety profiles and work out how I'm going to do it. But I'm open to anything except Nazare."
So that was off your list.
That's literally the conversation. It's off. It's not on the list.
Yep.
It's not realistic.
I'll do anything but.
It's not possible.
As in, when you say not possible, why did you believe it wasn't possible?
It just sounded too dangerous.
Yep.
Most big wave spots hit a reef. So if you think about Jaws, if you've heard about Jaws, it hits a reef and it basically breaks in the same place. because the bathymetry is a word that we use, which is basically the shape of the bottom of the ocean. So the most waves in the world are determined by the bathymetry. So the shape of the ocean will determine, at the bottom of the ocean will determine the shape of the wave on the surface. So if you look at the wave pools, like the wave pool here at Tullamarine, they've shaped the concrete slab in a way that when the wave hits it, it breaks in a certain shape.
Yes.
So it won't break in the deep water. As soon as it hits shallow water, it will break. So you taper that wave. So as it hits the shallower parts, it breaks in a long, so it makes a long wave. When you see closeouts on the beach, we call it closeouts, all breaks in one area. It's just because the bathymetry means it all gets shallow in one spot, so just the whole wave closes out, and it's just a short wave. It's a closeout. So most big waves in the world where you can actually surf, they're on reef. That is, the bathymetry means that the wave breaks in the same place every time, so there's a bit of consistency to it. At Nazare, because of the way it works, because the wave bounces out of the canyon and hits, it's actually a beach. The bathymetry is not sand on the bottom. It's not reef. It's sand. So what happens is the wave breaks where the surface wave joins with the submarine wave, and you can't determine where that will be. So it's literally like a warfield. There's literally mines just exploding in different places.
Of waves just popping up.
Yes. So you'll be sitting there. I can't see this, but basically you're sitting there and then a wave will pop up 30 metres out from shore and it will be like a 5-story building.
So the unpredictable nature of it is big.
So we talked about this, but I've been really good at building processes and looking at perceived risk, real risk, working out variables, and then from the variables we get a process that removes risk, and then we execute. There's a lot of just the fact that I'm a blind person surfing giant waves. There's a lot of variables. If you put Nazare into the variables of Nazare into that, it just became exponential, and it didn't seem possible.
That's unreal. Like the fact that now you're about to tell us that then you have a change of heart and decide to go and have a crack.
Yep.
What was that decision-making process like?
But always a stitch up from the boys or a bad relationship breakup in my life has been the experience. So I'm doing an interview at my house at the time in Lennox Head.
Yep.
For the movie, and the director's asking me these questions, and he's like, and my phone keeps ringing, and it's Dylan, my shaper and my big wave mentor, and who's like one of the main characters in the movie, and with me, and I'm like, I keep putting on, and the director's like, who is it? And I said, it's Dylan. He goes, I'll just answer it. And I said, no, I'll call him back afterwards. And he's like, just answer it. And I don't know, but they've stitched that. They've got Dylan at the other end with cameras on him, and they're filming. They're doing an interview with me, but the interview they're doing with me is actually not that interview. They're staging it so they can film this phone call that I'm about to have with Dill.
Right.
So
of this idea being planted.
Yes.
So proper stitch up.
Yeah, but they wanted to get the tension of me going, fuck, no way, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And then they want to talk me into it, right? So, and go, Matty, I think, because they've basically all mapped it out, they reckon they can make it work. But they know at the end of the day, I'm the athlete, I'm the team leader, I need to be on board with the whole process. So basically the phone, he goes, just answer. I just eventually answer, hey, Dill, how you going, mate? He's like, good. Hey, Matty, I've been thinking about this wave, because we're eyeing off a few different waves around Sydney, but there's some big, we've got some waves that are off some different bommies out, that we could potentially use. There were some waves in Western Australia, and the swells hadn't really come in in the right angles we needed and the size we wanted. We've been surfing some big waves, but nothing big enough that was going to, close the end of a movie. And Dill goes, Matty, I reckon you could surf Nazare. I've been, geez, don't cut me off, just hear me out. And then apparently my face just lights up and I start smiling while on the camera. And he's like, just hear me out. I reckon you can surf Nazare. And I basically was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. There's no.
Were they hoping for a different reaction?
Yeah, well, they wanted tension because when the director originally pitched the movie to different streaming platforms, they were like, yeah, it's a great, inspiring story, but there's not enough tension. Like, where's the tension? We need tension in the story. So the whole time he was filming, he was always looking for tension and drama.
Whereas you're just like, there's too much. There's just why not? Well,
Yeah.
why not have a crack?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah,
Let's do it.
Yeah, so it didn't give him his drama. We ended up getting drama because Dylan ended up cutting his head open. Have you seen the film?
No, I haven't seen a lot
Yeah, okay.
for a long time.
Yeah, okay. No, but it's in what's it called? The voice thing where it describes it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it's called, but
Yeah.
it's not captions, but
It tells you what's going on.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I watched the movie multiple times when we did the national tour, and it was actually once again down here in Melbourne. It was down in Geelong. We watched it, and I listened to it with the captions. And I made this movie. It's about me, and I hadn't heard. And I was like, there was some stuff in there. I was like, oh, did that happen? So it's worth it. But anyway,
Yeah,
So,
nice.
so we go there. Dill surfs the day before. He cuts his head open badly. He ends up in hospital overnight. The night before I surfed my big XL day, I'd surf there for a few different days on smaller, still big, like 30-foot days. But then this day was going to be big, and I needed psychologically. He was my man. And then I'm thinking, it's rattled me because I'm
what role did he play out there for you?
well, he's my mentor. He's my board shaper. So he's made my board. He surfed out there a lot. He's an Aussie guy that I know well. I've built a trust with him. He was going to be my first safety. So I know if he's in the water, he's going to get to me. So I've got 4 jet skis that are my safety team. So if I'm underwater, I'm getting the biggest risk out there is drowning. And it's a real risk. Someone died there 3 weeks after I was there. So I knew that I trusted that he would get there. He's one of the best jet ski drivers in the world. But I had had Lucas Chunko as my main jet ski driver, my tow driver. He's the best jet ski driver in the surf in the world. So I had him, and I had 2 other skis that also had some of the best guys in the world. So I had a great team. But knowing that Dylan had hurt himself, and he can see, and he's one of the best big wave surfers in the world, the night before I'm going to surf my XXL day, that rattles you because you're like, well, if he gets hurt,
100%,
what happens to me? Can I do this?
because he can see
Yeah.
and I can't.
Yeah. But going back to my first wave at Nazare, which is, the beginning of that week, was the first time in my life I'd ever, because people say, you don't have fear. You got huge balls. You got no fear. And I would try and have rapport with people and go, oh yeah, I think I have fear. I didn't actually know what fear was for most people because my biggest fear growing up was being seen as disabled.
Yeah, which is very different to I've got a fear of heights. I've got a
Yes.
fear of
Yeah.
buddy, spiders, snakes, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
That's a very different. That's a perceived fear about the way someone else is going to see you
Yeah.
compared to something you're actually physically scared of.
Which in me was a greater fear, and it also then it meant I had no physical fear because I would be more scared. Like if someone wanted to fight me, I would see that if I backed down or if I lost that fight, that would prove that I was disabled.
Yeah. Yep.
Whereas if I beat them, that proved that I wasn't disabled.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it?
Yep. And also with, all these other bits. So I had lived my life and in tackling, I'd tackle a kid that was like these big Islander kids that I'd play against. I would tackle them because I'd be more scared that the boys would see, other guys might just go, I'm not going to tackle that. I'll get injured. Do you know what I mean? I'd just make the tackle because I was more scared of the boys thinking that my eyesight made me not be able to make that tackle than my lack of courage. So through doing all of that, I built this capacity in not having physical fear.
Yeah, having fear about what other people thought of you,
Yeah.
but not so much the physical fear about your own safety.
No.
And
no.
then you get to Nazare and that all changes.
Yep, but not in a way that you're thinking. So I'm laying out the back because the world media got hold of the fact that I'm going there. Right, it's a big thing. It becomes global media, and basically the main threat is it's not said directly, but it's mainly like they're going to kill the blind guy. He's going to die. Then which goes back to my whole life playing footy. He doesn't belong. He's not welcome. He can't do it. Playing, the whole thing. My parents being told the whole time he can't. Right. So this is no different to me. I've been told this narrative. It's different people saying it, but it's the same narrative. So I don't take it on board, but I do subconsciously. So I'm laying in the water and I start having a bit of doubt. Like, can I do this? Is this possible? Like, are they right or are we right? Like, me and my team are the best in the world at this, what we're about to do. But have we run the data right? Have we made something? Have we made any incorrect? Like, because it's never been done before. This is way outside anything that anyone's ever done before. And so I'm laying there, and the fear that I ended up having was that my children would lose their father.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Not that I would die, because they're the same thing. wasn't worried about me dying. I've always been comfortable with that because that's the realms that I play in. But I was deeply concerned about my children losing their father.
The two same outcome,
Yeah.
two different things.
Yeah, completely same. It's exactly the same thing. It's just a different. Yeah.
It's a different way of looking at it.
Yep.
Yeah. And were they worried about that?
They were too young. Like my oldest, in the movie, my son says, "Dad, just don't die." He actually says that on camera.
Yeah, right.
So he was very conscious of what it was.
Yeah, so he knew the risk.
Yeah. My youngest two weren't old enough to know what was going on there, but they are now. And I've got this current goal of setting a world record in freediving, and they're very consciously aware of what that is. Yeah.
Far out. So Dylan does his head.
Yeah.
You get to day
Yep.
XXL day.
Yep.
As you say.
Yeah, go out and there's this fog and they can't even see us. So we've got thousands of people in the headland, cameras, everything. They can't see us because of this fog. We're out the back. I catch a bunch of waves.
That's ironic for a bloke whose vision is very foggy at the best of times.
Yep.
You're like, welcome to my world, people. I can't see you. You can't see me. Let's go.
But we're trying to film a movie, right? So
Fog's not ideal.
not ideal. But anyway, we've got cameras on. We've got jet skis with cameras on them.
Yep.
Last wave, we've been surfing all morning. I've literally got to go to the airport I'm in Portugal. I've got to go to Lisbon Airport to fly to Los Angeles because I start World Championships for high performance surfing 2 days later.
You're cutting it fine here, mate.
So we're not we're going a lot of times. Anyway, we basically, this last wave comes through and Lucas, our spotter, so we've got Strodgy on the headland. So I've got a team of 4 jet skis in the water and I've got another guy on the headland. He's called our spotter and he watches the horizon for waves and he'll tell my team have got CBs on their chest.
Yep.
He tells them when he sees something that's on the horizon and he manoeuvres the whole team into position for the wave.
Like this is a full-blown coordinated team effort.
It's like special forces. It's full on.
Yeah.
People die, mate. It's one of the most dangerous things you could ever do.
Mate, you're not selling it to me.
And you got a blind guy in the middle of all of it.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. There's a reason it's an accomplishment. Anyway, so Lucas gets me the wave. I drop into this wave, and long story short, it's a 51-foot wave. It's 5-story. If you're driving around your car, it's a 5-story building of water.
That's tall.
It's a lot of water. I don't make the wave, so it still classifies as I get awarded a Guinness World Record. I get dragged that far that no one on the head can. So the fog clears 3 minutes before the wave comes. So it's like the reveal moment. Thousands of people on the headland watching, reveal. I'm in a bright orange wetsuit. I get dragged so far the boys can't get to me, so I end up getting a second wave on the head. Anyway. Year later, I get announced as the heavy water award winner, so the best big wave surfer and most progressive big wave surfer in Australia, able-bodied for that wave and for the surfing I'd done that year. And yeah, the movie comes out, it wins a bunch of awards. It's top 5 in 2024. It becomes the top 5 in cinemas for documentaries in Australia. Then gets released on Netflix, becomes top 10 in Netflix documentaries at one point. And then I move on to freediving, and here we are.
Here you are, mate. Yeah. That is what a story. What you say you didn't make when you say you didn't make that 51-foot wave.
Yep.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So and I'm sorry, these stories are going on and on forever, but the way we talked about the process earlier around the drop saw.
Yes.
So when I'm catching these waves, I'm getting towed into the wave because I'm letting go of the tow rope. So I've got a jet ski that's towing me on a rope.
So are you already standing on the board?
I'm already standing on the board.
So it's sort of like surfing behind a boat, so to speak.
Combination between jet ski, like
wakeboarding.
Wakeboarding.
Yeah.
Yep. And surfing. So you're basically on a heavy wakeboard. He tows me into the wave because I can't see. And we talk about gates. Like I talk about gates. Anyone that wants to go surf Nazaré, they look at the thing on YouTube first. They go, yeah, no, that's not for me. Then they get to the headland. They can look at it. They go, yeah, no, that's not for me. Then they can go out on the jet ski, see it in the ocean, go, no, that's not for me. Then they get to the top of the wave. They can still say, yeah, that's not for me, and just stay on the rope and get towed away by the jet ski. I can't see any of that. All I have to do is trust my team that they've told me the whole time I can do it and tell me what it is so I can make my decision. So then I get to the top of the lip of the wave that I'm about to, like this 5-story building, and my tow driver blows a whistle.
So do they tow you over the top of the wave?
They get me just over the top, so it's just about to break. And then when he knows it's just about to break, he blows a whistle because they would normally see that. My other guys that can surf.
So you drop down from the top of the wave.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. I mean, obviously, I haven't been doing too much YouTube and a big wave surfing, so I don't know how this whole process works.
So just as
I don't know if you're getting towed in from the side of the wave in front of it, and then the jet ski jumps over the wave.
So we come in with the wave because you want to be going faster than the wave as it breaks. So you take off with the wave as it breaks, and then you're surfing along with the wave as it's breaking.
Yep.
Because if you go in front of it, it won't break. You're not steep enough, and you'll just get run over by it. And if you're behind it, you haven't got enough speed, it will just throw you.
Yeah.
So you need to have the right speed that you can be riding down it. So that speed at that size is around 60 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, so she's moving.
Yeah. So Lucas blows a whistle, and it's funny. When I started big wave surfing, we used to use verbal cues, and the boys would say, go, Matty, go. And we did it with one guy, and then we was in a pretty dangerous place where I ended up nearly on the rocks. But he basically took me to this wave. I let go, ended up getting absolutely annihilated, and I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, he took me out the back, and he was not the most experienced tow driver, but I thought he would know better than to put me on a wave that was that gnarly. And I was like, what? And they said to me before I could say anything, like, why did you go that way? What were you doing? I was like, what do you mean? Like, you guys told me to go. They're like, no, we said no.
No and go sound very similar, especially when you're surrounded by big waves, jet skis, and a whole lot of noise. I think this is when you go, I think we need a different word for this.
And that's right. You build capacity and you evolve the process, right? So we just use a whistle now.
Much better.
And only my tow driver is allowed to use his whistle unless they're doing a safety, unless they're doing a rescue. So when my team are coming in to get me, they blow the whistle. But all 4 of my drivers have whistles. But only my tow driver has his whistle anywhere near his mouth when we're towing into a wave. And he blows the whistle when he knows I'm in the perfect spot, and he knows he's 100% confident that's the right wave for me. And I trust him, and I pull the rope for a little extra speed, and I drop down the wave.
Yep.
And then they realised that because I'm going so fast, I wasn't turning early enough. I wasn't able to feel the wave the way I normally do. So then he rides the wave on the crest of the wave. He can look down at me and watch me from the corner of the wave. He then blows the whistle a second time for me to do my bottom turn. And I ride across the wave. And then he blows the whistle a third time for me to kick out. So on this biggest wave, so I'd made every wave. I'd surfed about 24 waves over the 3 days at Nazare. It was like not 3 consensual days, consecutive days, but 3 days over a week at Nazare. And just on the right days where it was big enough. And then... he basically everything had worked perfectly. Like this whistle, like blowing it. First time to let go, second time to turn, third to kick out. I'd made every wave. The biggest wave, obviously, I got too excited or something happened, but I didn't hear the third whistle
To kick out.
No. So they call it the anaconda section. So it's like this big snake that just comes up. If you imagine like a snake rearing out of the ocean with its big open mouth and just eating you, that's what happens at the end of the wave. So I got done by the anaconda section.
Oh, mate, I've got shivers. I've got the hairs standing up on the back of my neck thinking about that. And as I said before, I don't know, like you said you've done some roles in sales, but I'm sorry, you haven't sold this to me. As a blind bloke, blind big wave surfing, you can fucking keep it. It's all yours. It's not for me.
It's definitely, I love it, mate. It's for me, but yeah.
Yeah. Mate, that is awesome. And then obviously all of those principles from jet skiing to your cycling and all of your work in business has led you through to the book.
Yeah.
But before we get to the book, because I think that will lead quite nicely into my last question.
Yep.
We finish these guest episodes with a few quick fire questions.
Yep, great.
And to start with, it is one thing that we like to start with is, what is one thing that you do for you that works? So from a mental health point of view, a well-being, resilience, whatever way you want to do it, what are the things that you do on a regular basis that works for you and helps you from a routine point of view?
I thought about this question because I did hear you ask this other guest, and I'm going to give you 2 answers. I'm not sure which one's the correct one.
There's
no
correct one.
I'm not sitting on the fence with this, but this is the reality. I think my main one that I do is be a good dad.
Love that.
If I think that I'm doing the right thing for my kids, and that I might not be with them, but if I'm away earning money for them and I'm putting money and putting them through the right education or giving them the right opportunities, I'm being a good dad. And I'm not. But I can't always be doing that and being away earning money because then I'm not present. So just getting that balance right to be a good dad, and I think I'm doing that well.
Good.
But then I think but then I say that and I'm like, well, hang on, but what if I also believe that first principles are that you can't look after others if you're not looking after yourself.
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
So I then think, well, I actually do look, but because I'm a professional athlete, I train a lot, and I think that in itself is my therapy.
So would you still say that you love your sport?
I love my sport. I love competing. I plan to set a world record in freediving either late this year or early next year. And people will say, well, when's enough? Like, you've just done all these things. Like, what, like, are you trying to prove something to people? No, I'm not. I love the journey of it. I love learning. I love evolving. I take so much from the relationships I build through each of the challenges that I take on. And I'm becoming a better person every time I do one of these things. So I just love the challenges of all these things. And I don't know what's next, but it's the journey for me, the journey of evolving. Yes, I tick off and I win world titles and I break world records, but that is the symptom of the journey. That's not what I'm doing it for. And
I love that you're not doing it to prove something to other people, because I think naturally, like you said, so many people go, well, when is enough enough, and why are you doing this? And if your honest answer from the heart is, I'm doing it because I love it.
Yeah.
I want to set myself a challenge.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the journey and the relationships.
Yeah.
Then keep doing it. I would challenge you if you had said, no, I've still got that chip on my shoulder and I've got to keep proving to people that being blind doesn't need to stop me. It's like, mate, you did that long ago. Yeah, you actually did that when you came out of the bus stop.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't, because I still had another 10 years to fix myself up. But yeah.
Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
that process was that part.
Yeah.
Of proving to other people that you could get your life together.
Yeah.
It's not these. If you're doing these things for you,
yeah,
then that's the right intrinsic motivation.
And do you know what it is as well? Like, because one of the other lessons, one of the standards in my book is own every hat. And I say that it's like, so it's about time management. Like when you do, living. So when I'm a dad, I don't look at my phone. I just be a dad. And when I'm being a businessman, I'm not thinking about my training that morning. I'm thinking about what my team need. Thinking about what my customers need. And when I'm being a husband, when I'm wearing each hat, I'm 100% focused on the hat. But then also, there's a flawed concept that we have around being the same person, being consistent, which is absolute bullshit, and it doesn't set us up for success. We should have the same values and principles, but when we're wearing our different hats, we're different people. Me in the bar with my mates I'm not going to bring the best version of myself to that environment if I'm being the same way that I'm in a boardroom. And I'm not going to bring the best version of myself as a dad as I am going to be as a surfer. They're just different people.
And that's okay.
Person.
Yeah,
that's
I
okay.
love that.
But I don't think enough people are conscious. But be conscious of that. So be conscious and lean into how you turn up in your best personality, whatever it is, how you morph and you turn into that version of yourself in that environment. But don't let your standards or your values slip. So you hold your standards and your values at the same level. They stay the same, but how you turn up is different. So they're the two different parts of your hats. The third part, which this is where I'll get into with being an athlete. For me, I'm sitting on boards. I'm a dad. I'm an expert in some areas. I'm learning in other areas. As an athlete, I'm one of the best big wave surfers in the world. I could tell anyone about anything to do with boards. We put lead in it, but we do all these different things with technology. As a cyclist, I built technology. I'm a world leader in that. As a freediver, I'm the new guy. And I'm happy to be the new guy. I'm like sponging up anything anyone can tell me. And I'm learning and making mistakes. And I'm happy to be that new guy. So I love to be those different people and be conscious of who I am in that environment. And I love to be those different people, versions of myself, because that makes me the best. That makes me the best whole human.
Yeah, know that in some areas and aspects, you've done the work so you can say, yeah, I'm good at this. Yeah. And in others, you go, I've got no fucking idea what I'm doing here. Yes. And I'm here to learn.
And I own it. I own all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that. All right. What are you still doing that doesn't work or that isn't helping?
This is a hard one. I think, look, I would call out, I've done all these things. I've not done well financially.
Yeah, okay.
I've focused too much on sport and doing things for others. And they've all been great, but that hasn't helped my family. We're not doing bad, but we should be doing it. Like if you look at who I am and my profile and the movies and all the bits and pieces, you would imagine that I'm in a very different financial position than I am.
But then you probably dig a little bit deeper and actually stop and go, what sacrifices have been involved in all of the travel?
Yes.
And taking the opportunities and chasing the dreams. Like
Yeah.
that all costs money.
It does, yeah. And look, the flexibility that I have to be able to do this, for example, in my corporate role, means that I don't, I could chase more money, but then I would have less flexibility. So I've taken, it's all swings and roundabouts, but I think that's one thing that I could do a lot better. And I think that would, if I talk about really being the best dad I could be, then I should be more fiscal and more focused on bringing more revenue into my family.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not the money's everything, but
No.
like you say, to be able to look back and go,
I think people look at it as an evil thing, but I don't think it has to be evil. But I think you can. There's times when you can go, you know what, this is the time, and I need to actually make that a focus.
Yeah. Let's make that a priority rather than the living or the holidays or the adventure.
Yeah.
Like let's shift those priorities around a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Sorry if that's not a good answer, but that's my answer. Yeah.
There's no such thing as right or wrong answers here.
Yeah.
What about who sees the real you?
My wife.
Yeah.
My mates. And I'll go back to what I just said a couple of minutes ago. The real me is lots of different there's lots of different versions of me.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that because I turn up in different ways in different environments. But I think if you talk to any of those people, they would all know where my morals and my standards are. They'd all be the same. They wouldn't be different.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that.
Like you say, having those consistent values across those different hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. What are you proud of?
I'm proud of who I am as a human being. I'm proud of what I've gone through and where I've turned up. And I won't say I'm proud of. I know people will say this. I'm not proud of my children because they haven't done anything yet. No, that's the reality.
Yeah.
But I will be the most proud when I die. My greatest achievement will be if my 3 children are happy, healthy, successful human beings.
Yep. Love that. And last but not least from me is what are you looking forward to? Which is an ironic thing to ask someone who can't see what you're looking forward to, but I think you and I both probably share this same opinion of
Well, I think we're both visionary, right? So
well, and it's just a figure of speech.
yes.
People don't have to get caught up on I can't say see you later.
Well, I didn't even when you said I didn't think it, and then you started going down that rabbit hole, and I was like, "What the fuck's he doing here?"
Yeah, but did you know? I'm saying that because I'm calling out anyone who meets you or I or anyone else. Don't get awkward about come over here and have a look at this. I am going to come and have a look, just in my way.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to?
Mate, can I just say one thing about that?
Yeah.
If you're working with someone, so I manage big teams, right? And people, when they start working for me, they freak out and they start presenting to me about like a PowerPoint. And oh, sorry, man, I won't put the PowerPoint on the screen. I'm like, just put it on the screen because you're then doing your process. Just do it, present to me. I can't see it, but present to me the way you'd present to someone else because then you're doing, otherwise if you try and do it differently, you won't succeed the way you would have before. I'm not going to set you up to fail. So just present the way you'd present to anyone else. I don't need to be treated differently. And if I've got questions, I'll ask you. So I think it comes down to just do what you do. And as long as you're not hurting someone else, and if they need something else, it's their responsibility to ask you.
100%.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to, mate, I love going to Fiji with my kids. That's it. I work every day to see my kids get better at what they do. I love helping human beings out. I work in some amazing companies. I hope that through the work that I do, I can make Australia and the planet a better place. I honestly a bit concerned about where culturally we are at the moment. I won't go into that because
I was going to say that's a fucking can of worms.
Yep. Well, let's not go into that. But
We can talk about that once we turn the microphones off.
But I think we all need to talk about that more because
100%.
the other side's talking about it a lot and we're not, and we're all too politically correct, and I think we're just going to lose the war for that reason. But I think that's one thing that I think I've added a lot of value to in the world is the values and the culture and the standards, and that's what I'm going to hang my hat on. If I can teach people and help the world build more trust, that's my goal. My next 5 to 10 year goal is to be a world leader in trust. And if I can bring trust into footy teams, into businesses, into governments, into families, and to individuals, that will be an amazing thing that I've done.
Mate, I'm excited for you on the back of that, and that being something that you're looking forward to, which leads us in really nicely to this book that's about to launch.
Yes.
Which is called Why Not?
Yeah, I can find it. I think it's here somewhere. Did we put it here?
Oh, I don't know. You put it down there somewhere. I think it's against your chair.
You put it against the chair, so I don't know. Where did you put it against?
Oh, against your chair, mate. It's down there somewhere.
Oh, it's at the
No, to your left. To your left.
No, it's not. It's at the back.
Oh, well, fuck, I don't know. I'm just making it up. So tell us about this book. I know we've.
Now I'm probably gonna. I can't even get you to tell me if it's held. I think I'm holding it the right way.
Yeah, give us a look.
No, yeah. Because I know I worked it because it opens up that way. So then, anyway,
I think this is it. It's either that way. It's definitely not that way. It could be that way or that way.
Anyway, it's a book.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's not an audio copy. Here you go, mate.
No, but it comes. It does come out on Audible on audiobook in August.
Yeah, nice. So launch date is the
1st of August for the print book, about 20th of August for the audiobook.
Beautiful.
It's my life story. A lot of stories that you haven't heard today, but there's a lot of some of the stories you've heard as well. More detailed, more structured because I actually got time to write it. But each chapter finishes with one of my standards. So there's 8 standards in the book. The last standard is trust. I've built a framework to build trust. So it's a formula, and it's essentially standards times consistency times time. So standards equals. So the standards are the things you walk into businesses, right? Every business has their 3 values or whatever on the wall. But then if you talk to the staff in the business and say, well, what happens if you don't adhere to that value? If they can't tell you what happens, it's not a standard. And I really think standards are the most important thing. So I think standards, you've got to have a baseline of what a standard is, and if there has to be a consequence to that. If you don't adhere to it, then it's not a standard, right? It's just a wish. And then you do it consistently, and then you do it over time, and that builds trust. And that works across products, services, businesses, governments. If you apply that formula to anything, you can build trust. And if you build trust, you build greater credibility, you can charge higher margins, you get better retention with your customers. They won't go away. It just changes everything. And if you do it in your personal life, you will build very healthy relationships. And it's just, I think it's the most undervalued thing in the world. And I really want to help people build it.
So standards.
Consistency.
Times consistency.
Yeah.
Times time.
And the times is important because it's not an addition, it's not plus, it's times. So if any of those 3 things are 0,
yeah, so if you don't do it for long enough.
Well, if you don't know what the standards are, if you do it consistently and you do it over time, it doesn't mean anything. If you don't do it consistently, but you do it over time, like the lack of consistency, no one's going to trust you, are they? If you do one thing one day and you do another thing another day, there's no trust. And if you do it, and you need time. So you need those 3 things. You need to know what the standards are. You need to show people that you're going to do them consistently. And then if you do them over the time, you will build a trust mountain so big that you will basically destroy anyone in your market.
And I love the fact that you started, and we talked about during today's episode, the self-trust is at the first sort of key pillar, so to
100%.
speak.
Yeah. Trust. So the 5 pillars I've got is trust, team, stakeholder, leadership, and then customer.
Yeah. So it's a business-based book.
Yes.
But there's obviously lessons in there that anyone would be able to learn and apply in your own personal life as well.
It's all personal. Like I had 20 test readers. All of my female test readers said, I want my young males to read this. They were all like teenage young males. That they were like this. All young males need to read this book because obviously it talks about me losing my shit, but then me finding my way out of it. So
because I know from our audience's point of view, all of the Flying Blind listeners out there, there'll be plenty of people out there listening in business.
Yeah.
There'll be people out there that maybe a single young bloke feeling lost. There might be parents out there, like you say, of young teenage boys.
Yes.
Right? And I think it applies to anyone and everyone in between all of those different categories and everything in between, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Love the fact that it's on audiobook as well. So I'll be getting around that when it comes out. I don't think I'll spend too much time with the hard copy myself personally.
No, I won't do too much for you. I mean, it might not even be my book, so I might have given me someone else's book.
I'm sure Amy will get right around it. And then where are we going? And if people get around this within the next sort of 10 days of this episode being released before the 1st of August.
Before the 1st of August, we're giving away an iPhone Air, thinnest iPhone ever released.
iPhone Air.
Yeah, it's $1,800 phone. We're giving away a JS Surfboard, it's $1,100 surfboard of your choice, anything they've got in stock, and a Billabong Wetsuit, any wetsuit you want that's in stock. So if you buy a copy in pre-sale, jump on the website. It's just mattformston.com. You just enter the competition, and we're giving away about $3,500 worth of prizes.
$3,500 worth of prizes. Yeah. So basically, you pre-order a book and you'll get randomly selected.
No random. No, you got to put your order details in, and then just give us your why not moment.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Give us your why not moment.
Because if I went down the random path, there's about $5,000 in registration fees. So if I do a game of skill, there's no registration fees.
Right.
Yes.
So who's judging the why not moment?
Me and my children.
Love that.
Yes.
That's cool.
All
right, so just for the Flying Blind listeners, what if they mention Flying Blind in there, why not? Are we going to get sort of top of the ranking list, or what are we looking for? What are the kids into? How can we tug on their heartstrings? Who do they go for in the footy?
Don't say 6-7 because the kids will choose you, but I will kick you out. I think no Bulldogs, please. Definitely no Bulldog supporters. And apart from that, just have a crack. Like, give us I think it's emotional. Like, if you give us something that shows a bit of emotion and a bit of letting us inside a real story, I reckon that'll go a long way.
Mate, I think that aligns perfectly with our audience as well, because we're a storytelling-based podcast, and everyone out there listening has heard plenty of people come on here and share the stories, but also share the emotion behind those stories.
Yeah.
And know that, hey, we're all out there just winging it. We're all having a crack. We're all having those why not moments.
Yes.
Yes, you're hearing some of the stories. You're hearing your story today, but every single person out there in life, you've all got your own stories.
Absolutely.
And this is a great opportunity for you to be able to put pen to paper or finger to keyboard to type it in, and you get a great book in the process. And it's
launching just before Father's Day, so if you don't want it yourself, just flick it off to Dad, and you can keep the iPhone yourself.
Perfect.
Yeah,
even better. Yeah. Love all of that, mate. Mate, thank you so much for coming down, for braving concussion on the flight when you got hit by that water bottle. That feels like hours ago when we started having a yarn. Yeah. But it's been great to have a beer, have a feed with you before today, but to learn more about your story, what you've overcome, some of the achievements, but more importantly, I think the lessons learnt, and then some of the frameworks and the things that we can all learn from your life experiences in this book, Why Not? And I think it's such a great question that we can all ask ourselves. Do you want to finish with a couple of those questions that you said, finish each chapter off for us to sort of think about and consider on the way out, or am I putting you on the spot there?
You put me on the spot, but I think...
Have you got a couple of them?
Well, the first one is, don't get stuck in one gear. Like, what gear are you stuck in? Like, think about that. Like, the 2 gears, 1 engine. Are you stuck in one gear? Like, think about, are you just too busy doing things to not think about your strategy? Like, what is your plan? What's your 5-year plan? And that might sound like a business thing, but it's not. It's a personal thing. Like, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? There's another one about empathy. So I've used to talk a lot about talking to people and at people. Now as a leader, I talk a lot about empathy and listening to people and what's in their heart. And there's a question in there around, like, in your relationships, in your business, in your family, who are you listening to? And are you listening to them, or are you just listening to what you want to hear? I'll leave you with that.
Love that. Great way to finish. And I think that overarching question of, well, why not, is a fantastic one as well. And I think it links so nicely with what this whole concept is all about, mate. So once again, thank you so much for coming on. We will put the link to Matt's website in the show notes, so you'll be able to click on that, go straight there, pre-order the book, submit your why not moment. All of a sudden you'll have an iPhone Air, a surfboard, and a Billabong wetsuit, or maybe if you do that as well. So
cheers, Benny. And just quietly, we haven't had many entries yet, so I reckon you could be in for a good shot.
I might enter on behalf of all my mates. No, go and do that, guys, and we will we'll make sure to put all Matty's links from a socials point of view. Is a fantastic keynote speaker. So if you've got an event coming up, make sure you, again, jump on his website, hit him up, whether it's a keynote, whether it's the book, or whether it's following along on socials. We'll put all those links in there. And, mate, for everyone out there listening and for you, keep winging it.
Cheers, Benny. Appreciate it, mate. Are we going to do a handshake?
We can do that.
I'm a bit anxious, so we can get
Oh,
together.
here we go.
he
There we
nailed
go. We nailed it. Well done. Perfect.
Cheers, mate.